ahead and get started with this live stream. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to a long-awaited stream that Kevin's been trying to get us to do this for a while, and well, we've been putting off doing a CFA stream for a while now. But yeah, so
we sincerely apologize.
Yeah, so we are going to be EFAPing. Yeah, we're going to be EFAPing into Cosmonaut Variety Hour's Batman v Superman, the worst superhero movie ever made. For those of you who don't know what EFAP is a podcast run by Mauler, Rags, and Fringy, formerly Dishonored Wolf, where they run over. They mega pause every bad videos and bad movies and shit like that, and they go through that.
They dunk on CinemaSins every so often.
Yeah, the format was originated by Sargon of Akkad, I believe, back in like 2014, 2015, and because he and I think back in the day he and Mr. Medicare used to stream a lot together. Him, Arch Warhammer, Medicare, and V, and Kraut and T back before Kraut went fucking insane.
God, I've looked all into that. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, we'll just leave that in the rear view window. Oh, like Ethan Ralph left his children. Anyways, so a little bit of backstory here. Batman v Superman is one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm incredibly biased. Zack Snyder is my favorite director, but Cosmo has kind of a reputation for being a dumb fuck online with his reviews. You were telling me right before we started, guys, about his review of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
He did Sam Raimi and Mark Webb.
He did Raimi and Webb, and like I didn't watch those, but I heard from like clips of what Mauler was talking about with them that his reviews were just bad.
And
Right.
yeah, and it's like he'll either try to be a contrarian or he'll try to be the biggest simp for something and that lines up with whatever political thing that he believes.
Alright, you guys keep going. I gotta mute.
All right.
And it's like there was a time where I used to agree with him, but nowadays it's just like, no, your takes are shit. Your takes are utter shit. More so than Svit, its takes.
Yeah, and I had my problems with how JXC's videos. I had my problems with JXC's content. JXC is at least like honest and willing to talk and like it seems
he's willing to take criticism.
Yeah, he's a reasonable guy. Whereas like Cosmo comes across as like a fucking dipshit. And for those of you who are looking at the thumbnail, that's from his Patreon. That is from Cosmo's Patreon.
What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, I know.
So he's honest about himself at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, he's trying to be ironic, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's like and if you ever get a chance to check out his MCU reviews, you'll see how redonkulous he can be. I'm sure.
Yeah, you were telling me about his Captain Marvel review.
Yeah, not only that, but it's like even if he hates Civil War like you do,
he hates it for bad reasons. He
yes,
said,
he hates
"Oh,
it for stupid reasons.
Herper, the comic was better. The comic wasn't better.
No, it wasn't.
The comic was not better. We'll get to that video eventually. That comic was... We'll have to go through the comic first, but, like...
Oh, boy.
Oh my god. Civil War, saying that the comic was better than anything except for, like... I'm struggling to think. The Clone Saga? Maybe?
God,
One more day?
Those are hot takes, man. Those are hot takes.
Female Thor?
Okay, let's just get this started.
Okay, so...
We've prolonged this
Yeah.
long enough.
Oh shit, I have to send you the Watch Together link.
I can see the stream.
Yeah, but if I don't like actually send you the Watch Together link, you won't be able to
Alright, I understand. Send it to me.
Okay, so
Transform me.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. Transformers, robots in disguise. Transformers.
Okay, I'm all set.
Alrighty then. So do you want to get started or should I? Because we don't have to do a 3, 2, 1, go. Here.
You can start.
Alright.
This video is
What? What the fuck?
sponsored by NordVPN.
Okay, there we go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the worst superhero movies ever made, a series where I help you ignore the decay of Western society. And today, the time has finally come. I am finally
And
going
so
to
have
watch
I.
the movies I've been avoiding for over a year now. The movies that truly inspired this series. I think Batman v Superman is the movie that a lot of people think about when they think about bad DC movies.
Haha,
And I
fuck
avoid
you.
watching it for a real
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, that is the subject
Come on.
of this
Pause! God damn it.
movie fair that we talk about the movie that came before. Fair that we talk.
Okay. So, I have Batman v Superman is the movie that people think of when they think of bad DC movies. Looking back at my shelf here, I have Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Superman 3 and 4,
Superman 4.
Superman Returns.
Catwoman.
Yeah, Catwoman. I have Catwoman downstairs. I have Green Lantern. Let me look over at the other shelf. Oh yeah, Injustice, the DC AMU, save for like 3 movies.
5 movies.
Yeah, 5 movies. Well, let's see here. Throne of Atlantis, Justice League versus Titans, Judas Contract.
Reign
No,
of the Superman.
Yeah, I guess we'll say Reign of the Superman.
What about Death of Superman?
Death
That
of
was
Superman.
actually pretty good.
Death of Superman's alright. Death of Superman isn't that great, though. It's got some issues with the animation.
Still better than Superman Doomsday.
Well, yes, but, you know. Oh, yeah.
That's a low fucking bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a low bar. Also, I sent you a picture that I found of a thing that I found at the discount store, which is the double feature of Death of Superman and Return of Superman with a little bit of special bonus features.
Oh, God.
Superman Doomsday on 4K. That
Right,
movie looks
so-
like shit on Blu-ray. I almost
So
wish
to
I'd have bought that.
So to paraphrase this, there are way worse Batman and Superman movies than BVS,
Wonder
and there are
Woman
worse
84.
DC movies than BVS.
Wonder Woman 80. Ow! Hey, Dylan.
Honestly, I don't have the strongest opinion on Batman v Superman. While it's not like the I don't
Click
consider
on the watch
worse.
together. You might want to click on the watch together link.
Yeah, I don't consider it like the worst superhero movie of all time because there are far worse superhero movies. But it's like
Worst superhero
Yeah.
movies came out in 2020. That's the year Wonder Woman 84 came out.
I'm sure Cosmonaut Marcus loves that movie.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'll have to check and
That's-
see how much of a simp for that.
The film that used Batman's theme in the climax of the movie, despite the fact that Batman was like 10 and not present in the goddamn film.
Right. All right. So let's keep going.
Fair that we talk about the movie that's before.
Okay, so I
let's start
to
by
join
talking
the
about
watch-
Man of
Okay.
Sponsorships. That's right.
Man of
Okay.
I'm sorry.
sponsorships,
Sponsored by Nord
Today's video is sponsored by
You guys know I don't
NordVPN.
do sponsorships too often in these videos, but this is one that I actually use, so you gotta listen to me whether you
God.
like it or not. Now, I
Can
gotta
we
tell you
mute
guys
him?
a story. I've never told anybody this, but a few years ago,
There we go. Yeah, nobody cares about your VPN shilling, Cosmo. Leave that for the end of the video.
Yeah, you really should leave it for the end of the video.
I have this set to 1080.
You know, at least
I have this set to
when
1080 HD. Why does it look like shit?
I don't know.
I could.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
At least when Totally Not Mark does his sponsorship thing, he actually does it in an entertaining way.
Yeah, and what's his name?
He's got
The
hey,
piano
hey,
guy.
He's got G Fuel. He's got G Fuel. Oh, and a knife. But he's got G Fuel and a knife. That was
No,
like,
honestly,
I wish we
That
get
was like-
sponsorships. I'd take
have to,
sponsorships from fucking knife companies
right.
and
yeah,
G
you know,
and G Fuel. I'd do both of those at the same time. And come across like a cocaine fueled serial killer.
right? Yeah, I'm thinking, honestly, if this was a video about his review
Oh, lovely.
about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, I probably
We'll
would
get
go
to-
off about it.
We'll get to the Raimi Man movie. His review on the Raimi Man movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're watching
Yeah,
the
'cause
Raimi Man movies right now, actually. We're doing Spider-Man 2 next week.
yeah, that's honestly one of my
Alright,
favorite
so,
superhero films of all time.
blah
I mean,
blah blah.
we're not at checkout for those Black Friday savings. And again, I would like to thank
Okay.
NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's talk about Superman now. Man of Steel is a weird movie.
Man of
I
Steel
don't
is...
even- you guys.
Okay, one person pause at a time. I guess, as we should say. We've never... Full disclosure, we've never done Watch together. Or we've always done, like, the 3, 2, 1, go with, stuff. So...
Yeah.
I just rewatched Man of Steel yesterday. In fact, I was up until 3 in the morning watching Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and for this.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. So that's fun. But Man of Steel is not a weird movie. Man of Steel is a very simple film. It is
Yeah,
what I like to
people
call
need to
my
understand.
nearly perfect movie. Like I as a movie critic I am always on this search for like perfect or near perfect movies. Man of Steel is like my near perfect movie that people constantly tell me doesn't exist. And when I find the nearly perfect movie, it's always something like this. It's where like somebody hates it despite the fact that it doesn't actually have like the problems that the films they tend to like have. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. So let's go ahead and just keep going.
Guys, I don't even think Man of Steel is that bad. It's not good.
Okay.
But compared to the shit that comes after it, it's at least semi-watchable.
Okay,
But the biggest problem
so compared to the shit that came before it,
shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the Superman mythos.
okay,
A freaking long time, okay?
Pause.
I think the amount of
why are we
I think the amount of people who actually
okay?
get
Watch together. If
this
you
in
could,
my DC superheroes about this.
okay, watch together. If you could like stop fucking up, that'd be great.
Why did we rewind?
I'm trying to figure out where we are, or because it keeps skipping forward.
Okay. So he says that even though Man of Steel is that Man of Steel compared to the other stuff that comes after it is somehow watchable, despite there being only like one really bad superhero movie that came out after BVS, and that's not even the fault of David Ayer.
Did you start watching DC films in 2013, Cosmo?
I guess he might have.
Because I didn't.
I know totally not Mark has actually watched quite a few of the older Batman and Spider-Man movies.
I'd seen
in preparation for the new stuff.
Mm-hmm. See, I'd seen Superman Returns, Batman and Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. I'd seen all of those. I'd seen Catwoman. I still have not seen Green Lantern, but I know its reputation.
I've seen it, and I can tell you that they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, Catwoman. I sat down and watched it. Actually, I'd say about a year ago. I sat down, I watched it, and I was amazed at just how awful like it really was. Like,
right?
It was like yeah, no, I would consider Catwoman probably as the worst superhero movie ever made.
I'd still say, like, if we're talking, like, the worst DC film ever made, I think Supergirl might take the cake in that regard.
Oh, the one from the...
Yeah. Superman 3, Superman 4, those are pretty bad. Batman and Robin. And, like, Catwoman has problems, but it also has, like this really weird, almost interesting concept behind it. It's not good.
And at the very least, Halle Berry was actually a decent sport in taking her Razzie.
Oh yeah, she was one of the few people who accepted her Razzie in person.
She was like, "Thank you for starring me in this piece of crap." All right, so let's keep going.
Superman is relatively small, and I've talked about this in my DC superheroes videos, so if you haven't seen that, go watch that, because I don't want to repeat everything. I got shit to do. You've seen the length of this video. It's already long enough. Now, I've been saying this for years and years, but Superman isn't as lame as everybody thinks he is.
Well,
but
yeah, we know that.
Always portrayed him in one of two ways: as a boring goody two-shoes Boy Scout narc, or as an emotionless alien demigod that's masquerading as a human without acting like one.
Excuse me. You're talking about Man of Steel, right? Right? Because like the film that has the whole thing of like Clark has this sense of like power and responsibility where he's
learning about it as
and
the
he's
movie goes on.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't
that's actually a direction that I don't think any Superman writer has ever taken him.
Like this is in the first half, this is in the first hour of the goddamn movie. Like he just goes in and he saved Pete, the guy who was a fucking bully to him. He saved him just because, because it was basically his responsibility to do so. He felt like he had to. Like he had the power, therefore he had to use it to help him. He saved the fucking bus.
We'll get to. How about we save that discussion for when he gets to it?
Okay, I'll save that. But the biggest reason why the Donner movies portrayed Superman as this holier than thou goody two shoes that was kind of boring is because those movies were Superman 1 and 2 are like two of the most rushed films in the history of filmmaking. And they were editing up to release day on Superman 1. On Superman 2 was shot they had to rewrite the script on the fly, basically, because the script that got turned in by Mario Puzo, the writer of The Godfather, was just garbage.
Speaking of The Godfather, I
Yeah.
recently seen that a couple weeks ago, and it was really good.
Yeah. But yeah, Mario Puzo's script for Superman was terrible. So the guy they got, I think it was Tom Mankiewicz, who was credited as story consultant, rewrote the script entirely. And the writers, there's this whole problem with the Writers Guild held in that regard. But point is like the Donner Lester era movies are like sandpapered to hell because they have Warner Brothers corporate hands all over them. I'm trying to make it,
No.
excuse me, as marketable as possible for the era. It's
All right,
basically
let's,
yeah.
let's make some progress.
Yeah.
And that second one has been popularized by these movies. And that's because of the director of these movies. See, Zack Snyder says he likes comic books, but to me, he's always seemed like the frat bro who reads Watchmen and says, "Bro, you gotta read this. It's not like other comics. It's got sex in it." But let's start by doing something
What?
that I don't usually do.
Like, what was the point there, man?
I think the point was that he was trying to portray Zack Snyder as an edgelord.
Okay. Did you watch the Watchmen movie? Because it's basically the same as the comic. It's just,
I
stylized.
think he might have, but I haven't seen his review on that.
We'll have
the
to
day-
check that out,
The day
I think.
the day I get to watching Watchmen, and we'll pick a date to check that out.
All right.
Anyway, let's continue.
I'm going to compliment him now. 300 is a pretty cool movie, and I'm not afraid to say that. I've said it before plenty of times.
300 doesn't completely ruin the source material because it's sort of just a comic about people punching
Oh
and kicking
my
each other. So it's pretty good at that.
I would agree with you. I think 300 is his best, most iconic movie.
Snyder
hi,
is really
Ralph.
good at looking at shit at face value, and something like 300 is not complex. It's very hard to fuck this up. And that's all the compliments that he's getting right now, so it's time to make fun of him again. Zack Snyder doesn't understand Watchmen. Now, a lot of people actually like his Watchmen adaptation,
We'll get
and I
to
used to be
this.
one of those people, but nowadays it
We'll get
kind of
to
ticks
this
me
when we
off.
watch
Snyder
Watchmen.
looked at a story that to some degree satirizes the glorification of comic book violence, and he made a dumb action movie that glorifies violence.
I had a buddy who tried getting me into normal comic books, but I was all like, no one is having sex or killing each other. This isn't really doing it for me. I was a little broken that way. So when Watchmen came along, I was like, this is more my scene.
I don't know, to me it doesn't sound like he actually gets it.
I'm taking it back a little bit, Like, hang on, Steam keeps popping up. I'm gonna kill Steam real quick. But like, I keep being taken aback by the things he says, because I understand.
So let's take the guy who doesn't.
I understand kind of like what he's saying. Do you realize that Watchmen was also a violent action comic as well?
Yeah.
Like, Watchmen had all of the elements in it that Zack Snyder used in his Watchmen movie. Like, aside from a minuscule amount of changes, like, he changed the ending.
What was he supposed to do for a comic book that is a violent, that does essentially come off as a violent and superhero action thing?
Because,
And what?
like, people say, oh, you're focusing on the superhero action violence, and that's not the point. It's a violent superhero action comic. I know it's got all this stuff in it about, like, oh, some of these superheroes would be, like, really fucked up in real life, because they'd have,
Yeah.
they'd suffer from PTSD. They'd have, you know, like some of them would have like god complexes and things like that. And it's like regular superhero comics did that both before Watchmen and after Watchmen. And Watchmen is like one of those comics where it is quite revolutionary in its conceptions of how it approaches everything, but it also draws a lot from the medium it's in. So you can't really say that a movie adaptation that has the violence and the action in it that the comic did is somehow missing the point of the source material when the source material had that in it. Granted, you know, the movie focuses on that a little bit more, but it's kind of a movie. Certain things are more interesting to watch than others, and when you give me a second here.
I will say that if you actually look at the Watchmen graphic novel, that there are scenes in the movie, in the movie that are, you know, very violent and bloody, but if you actually look at their graphic novel counterpart, that they are considerably less bloody and violent. I mean, it's still there, but
Yeah.
you know, looking through it, it's considerably less gory.
Right. So anyway, let's keep the ball rolling since I'm the only one who hasn't seen or read Watchmen.
So let's take the guy who doesn't understand Watchmen and give him the rights to make Batman and Superman movies. I'm sure he'll do a great job.
I'm like, okay, no, Batman's cool. He gets to go to a Tibetan monastery and be trained by ninjas. Okay? I want to do that. But he doesn't, like, get in prison. That could happen in my movie.
Look, Zach has some weird opinions about certain things, but ultimately, at the end of the day, most of those don't wind up in the movie because he or somebody else realizes, hey, that's kind of stupid, you know? Let's not include that.
Yeah.
And, like, I get it. I get that that's
He
a
has dumb
weird thing to
opinions, but
say.
he has dumb opinions at times, but at the very least, he understands that, yeah, it's a dumb opinion.
And this is like, okay, this is like most of the things Zach says makes a little bit of sense in context because he's talking about the prison stuff in Batman Begins, right? How, like,
Right.
you know, Bruce Wayne travels the world, and, you know, one day he winds up in prison, and he winds up in the prison and towards the, you know, after he's already become, you know, pretty badass, but he's not the ultimate badass. Because if he did that, like, earlier on, he would, like, when he's, like, naive Bruce Wayne, when he goes to confront fucking Falcone at his lair in Batman Begins, like, if he did something like that, he'd get his ass beat, and he'd, you know, if you're in a vulnerable position, well, stuff like that's gonna happen, and when you're around, like, the worst of humanity. But, and the thing is that I've read the original script for Batman Begins, I've read the movie novelization, which was based on the original script. There was some stuff like that in there, not exactly, like, directly, you know, like they don't have, like, a scene of fucking Avocado from Prison Break bending Bruce over her, you know? But there's shit like he gets kicked in the balls, he gets all kinds of injuries and stuff, and then he learns from it. And that's kind of what he's saying. Like, at the end of the day, hey, Batman and has to learn from things when he's at his lowest points, you know?
Right. Anyway, let's keep the ball rolling.
Zack Snyder is not interested in making faithful comic book adaptations. He wants to make edgelord fan fiction. I don't think Zack Snyder likes Superman, so I think he made these movies.
Okay, edgelord fan fiction, can we go back to the whole Injustice thing that we've spent way too much time on? Because, like, the concept of evil Superman, bad guy Superman, is not new. It was not created by Zack Snyder. It was created by Warner Brothers. It was created by DC Comics. They've...
Yeah, just like the animated series ended up doing.
Yeah.
Ended up doing it where Superman
we have...
into the Justice League turned evil, and that was actually a surprisingly good story.
Right, we have stuff like that. We have Ultraman. We have the negative universe, or the negative
General
multiverse.
fucking Zod, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, like, all of this stuff exists, and it's like a really interesting concept to think, or at least it was a really interesting concept at one point, to think, like, what if the ultimate good guy went bad, you know? Because, like, Superman has all of this great power that he uses for good things, but what if, you know, something happened and he stopped doing that? And what if he changed, like, what would cause him to go evil? That kind of thing.
And
all of that's
Tom
an interesting
Taylor also
concept.
has to- if he wants edgelord fan fiction, he should go read
Excuse me.
Tom Taylor comics.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Anyway.
The friggin' Injustice game came out, like, what, 2-3 years before Man of Steel?
No, it actually came out the same year.
Okay, so it came out not the same year, it came out 3 years before BVS then.
Right. Anyway, let's continue.
Movies to make the kind of Superman that he would want. So instead, you get these movies with a bad Superman, and then eventually
Using a
you get
scene
bad
from Man of
Batman.
Steel
And all
where
across these three movies,
Superman
these
was
characters never
okay,
improved in
pause
any
it for a
way.
second.
And
That scene where he's drowning in skulls, that's from Man of Steel, where he is resolutely opposing General Zod's proposal for genocide. Yeah, go fuck yourself, Marcus.
And I understand that most of this video so far has been me complaining about Snyder more than actually talking about Man of Steel, but this stuff is really important when we are talking about this series. Because as I've said in this video already, and in other videos before, the biggest problem...
Whose fault was it that caused Justice League to be a disaster for WB
Jeff Johns.
and Joss Whedon?
Yes. Because he's the
Not
one who
Zack
came to
Snyder.
he's the one who came to Jeff Johns with the script.
He tried to recycle Avengers for this.
And he recycled jokes that he wrote for his unused Wonder Woman script, which would have starred Angelina Jolie.
Oh, good lord. They get Angelina Jolie in the Eternals, but we'll cross that bridge.
We'll burn that bridge
problem
when
with
we
these
come to
movies
it.
is that he doesn't understand these characters. You can make a movie that has a boring-ass story, but if you make the main character relatable and interesting, it will still make money, and people will...
Okay, we're using Black Panther for this analogy because... Does he honestly think that... Like, okay, does he honestly think that the concept of the story of Black Panther is boring? Because that's an interesting thing. I mean, it is basically just Throne of Atlantis, but it's also, like,
Still,
it's interesting. Throne of Atlantis is a good
yes,
story.
it's a role reversal. Yes, this is a role reversal of the Throne of Atlantis story.
Right. So, you've got this,
Excuse me
like,
one moment,
what if
and
this...
I'll be right back.
Alright, I'll fill. So, what if this, like, warlike terrorist guy performed a coup from the outside in, rather than the inside out, like Orm did in Aquaman and Throne of Atlantis, and that is a really interesting political story, where you've got all this intrigue about the succession of Wakanda, and, like, is Wakanda going to be, like, part of the bigger world, or is it just going to try and be off by itself? And if it's going to be part of the bigger world or off by itself, well, like, are those good or bad things? Things like that. And like, there's all kinds of interesting concepts surrounding Black Panther. Granted, it could have been a better movie. You know, everything in the MCU after a certain point could have. You know, there are plenty of missed opportunities that Black Panther could have taken, but all in all, like, aside from the weakest point is the CGI. The weakest point is clearly the CGI.
Ryan Coogler is not exactly well versed when it comes to like a big scope motion picture, or as opposed to like his Creed movies.
No, and
last I checked, there's not really much CGI needed for a boxing film.
No, but the problem with Black Panther, for those of you who don't know, is similar to the problem with Cats. The director has an idea in mind, and then towards the end of where everything's solidified, he changes it, and that's why the end fight scene from Black Panther is kind of fucked up. Like, the CGI looks kind of busted in that. And the problem with Cats was that, what's his name, the guy who directed it, Tom Hooper, he kept seeing like the previs and thinking that was going to be the final product, and asking why it looked like shit. So he had them render full resolution, full detail images for the previs section, and then they'd change something, and then they'd have to go back and redo it all again. That's why the visual effects look like such a fucking mess.
Right.
Is it true that Cats had like a whole cut of the film where like they had like actual buttholes?
CGI buttholes. Yeah, they did that. They had to
release the butthole cut.
Yeah, they had to go. They had to go back and redo all of the CGI because somebody had done that and nobody noticed, and then they noticed it and they had to go back and redo the CGI. That cost them something like $25 million, I think.
And they still tanked at the box office. Anyway.
Go fuck yourself, Tom Hooper.
Marvel has been doing this for years now. Most of these movies are not very ambitious as far as story is concerned.
Oh, please. Thor Ragnarok was way too ambitious.
Characters. And in Man of Steel, we have Henry Cavill as Superman, who is not exact.
Thor Ragnarok was way too ambitious for its britches. Like, you can't use that as an example of the character being more interesting than the story, when the interesting story is taking place in a different part from the character. Like,
some people would argue that Thor Ragnarok's interesting story was on Sakaar as opposed to on Asgard.
Okay, then it should have been two different movies.
Whoever I am, did you listen to a word I just said? That was probably one of my favorite lines in that movie. Hela literally just gets finished explaining who she is and why she's there, and that one Asian guy's like, "Whoever you are, stand up." And I'm just like, "Oh my god, you did not listen to a thing she said." And she literally spelled out what she was going to do and why she's there. I don't know if he's just in denial or if he's just brain dead. It's still a funny moment, but the point still taken. Anyway.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Exactly the most chaotic person.
Don't play games with me, General.
Ooh, boy. And yeah, you can tell that it's mostly due to how he's written and directed. But to get into that, we actually have to watch the movie now. Now, I'm not going to do a full breakdown of this movie because it's not the shit show that Batman v Superman is. It's not one of the worst superhero movies ever made. So I'm just going to try to break down the general idea of why this movie doesn't work for me, and then we'll go to the next one. To start with the positives, I think Zod works decently well as a compelling main villain. He's around from the very beginning of the movie, so we understand who he is and what he's doing pretty early on. And honestly, I think he works as this overzealous lunatic. And I really like how he reacts to finding out that he has superpowers when he's on Earth. He takes the opposite approach to Superman, and he's like, oh, so I'm basically a god, I'm just gonna rule the planet now.
I'm basically a god. No, he's going to destroy the planet and build Krypton anew.
Clearly, he did not watch this movie.
Like the whole...
He did the CinemaSins approach, and had the movie on in the background while he was doing something else, and just listened to the film without really looking and paying attention. Plus, at that moment, Zod was having a sensory overload.
Also, can we go back to that thing where he says, you know, the don't play games with me, General? Well, like, aside from the fact that that's a little bit of an ADR issue, it actually doesn't sound that bad when you play it in context with the rest of the score around it.
But of course, he won't do that. He'll just take lines out of context.
But if you isolate it out, you know, of course it's gonna sound fucking weird because there's there's a minuscule cut in the ADR where like Henry, I think like the onset mic was being blown by the wind or something, which is incidentally why the cape is CGI in that scene.
You know, some part of me kind of imagined in a similar instance to like Markiplier with a boom mic. The mic just tries to lower itself near Henry Cavill, but it ends up accidentally coming into contact with his mouth. But Superman is not the superhero that Markiplier looks like. No, that would be a Metro Man. If we ever do Megamind, we'll get to that.
God, I fucking love Megamind.
Anyway, Dylan, what are your thoughts on the Man of Steel?
What do I think of the Man of Steel? Personally, I didn't mind it. It's definitely not my preferred Superman story, but it's honestly far from the worst. I mean, God, I watched fucking. I read the Injustice comics with you guys.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. When I go to think about Superman, nowadays it's between Zack Snyder's version and Bruce Timm's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because, like, if we're talking motion picture adaptations of Superman, for me, it goes Man of Steel, Superman the Animated Series, and then, like, everything the fuck else. All-Star Superman, I'd say All-Star Superman would be, like, number 3, but, you know, you get my point.
What about the Superman Batman movies?
Superman, Batman, those are good. Yeah, those are good. Then you have, like, Superman versus the Elite, and it's like, eh.
I thought it was good.
It was a good enough movie, but it's kind of like the animation looks really, really weird. Superman has this gigantic jaw and this tiny, tiny forehead.
I think that was intentional on the art style.
Yeah.
Of the comic.
Yeah.
Like maybe. Yeah, I'll have to look into that comic like one of these days. But anyway, let's go and make some more progress.
I think that's pretty fun. I have no problem with that. And you know, sometimes I just like when a villain is hammy and evil. And yes, it's cool to get a villain that you kind of agree with, but it's also fun to see a villain who's totally 100% wrong, but it's also believable in how insane they are. And I mean it, he's actually insane.
I will find him!
Also, Michael Shannon is...
We couldn't get through... No review of this movie has ever gone without that line.
Yeah. I also have to... Quick question. I can't tell if Marcus has turned up the saturation in his video or something, but why does all the footage look like shit? Like, the MCU stuff looks alright, and then the rest of the stuff looks like shit.
I have to wonder if he's using the 4K for this, because I remember watching the 4K for Man of Steel, and I'm like, the saturation is trying to steal my eyes off.
Admittedly, I have not watched the 4Ks for anything except
I don't recommend
ZSJL.
I don't recommend it for Man of Steel.
Yeah.
It looks, the saturation just tries to.
Yeah, that was an early 4K from Warner Brothers, and they have this habit of fucking up their first couple of discs, and then everything else looks great.
The Detective Pikachu one was okay with the even with the saturation, but it still looks nice.
Wonder Woman looks good. Zack Snyder's Justice League looks really good. The BVS, the BVS IMAX looks good. Suicide Squad looked like garbage on 4K, I have to say. And they also only included the theatrical cut, not the one that actually makes sense.
Anyway, let's keep the ball rolling.
Is the only actor in this movie who seems to be trying even a little bit.
Excuse me! Amy Adams is Lois Lane, Henry Cavill is Superman, and the young Superman, Kevin Costner, as Jonathan Kent. What's her fucking name as Martha?
Diane Lane?
Yeah, Diane Lane. Lawrence Fishburne as friggin' Perry White. Oh, come the fuck up. Russell friggin' Crowe as Jor-El.
Well, at least Crowe isn't singing.
He gives this impassioned speech at the start of the movie about how Krypton is fucked. Like, and he gives this whole thing that tells you exactly what his relationship with Zod was. Like, when Zod starts his coup, he and Zod have this big conversation, and where he's like, no, I'm not gonna go along with your concept of how the world's gonna be. Hey, this is fucking insane. I'm gonna go off and save the world on my own, you know? It's like that was fucking great. You watched the goddamn movie or something. Come on.
Evidently, no, he hasn't. He's only seen the memes.
What the hell? What was the woman who played Lara Lorvan in Man of Steel? I don't remember her name, but she was great in that too. And it was like she like falls over crying on top of Jor-El's body, and it's heartbreaking. And she's like, you know, oh, I didn't want to. I wanted to go along with the plan of sending Kal-El away. Hey, and now he's here, and I don't want him to go. And it's like that's fucking heart-wrenching. And then the planet explodes, and it's like.
I mean, hell, even in Superman the Animated Series, Jor-El saw Lara's hesitation, and he's like, you know, I could just send you with him. But Lara, I was like, no, I'm staying with you. So I'm committed to this plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was also really gut-wrenching. Anyway, and getting back on track.
The only person here showing a shred of emotion, so I'm gonna have to appreciate that, even if that emotion is insanity. And the scene of Superman flying for the first time is kind of cool.
Kind
really
of
good
cool.
at montage scenes like this.
Kind of
cool.
cool.
The main character isn't
Yes.
talking, has like a 10% chance of being decent. We're going to see something like that later, too. However, when you actually think about this scene for more than 10 seconds, it falls apart, but we'll get to that later. As for the things in this movie that I don't like, we have basically every other thing in the movie.
See, I thought you were going to bring up the one point about the film I actually don't like, which is Jonathan Kent's death scene.
He's like, no, Clark, don't save me. And
Like,
Batman
this...
is like, why didn't you save your dad?
This has been a sticking point with me for...
Who would blame you for saving your dad?
This has been a sticking point with me for 9 years, ever since I saw this film for the first time. Like...
Yeah, even I didn't really like that scene, but I do understand why.
Yeah.
Soup didn't choose to save him.
I mean,
I understand why, but it still is a dumb moment.
Like, looking at the film, my original concept of it, and like where I thought that you could have.
The heart attack.
No, like my original concept of what was going on, where like you could probably save him if you were just like a regular guy could have saved him. Probably not, considering there's like a span of about 10 seconds between when he realizes he's gonna die and when the tornado actually takes him. But you know, well, like Clark could have kind of made it work.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not out of character for John Kent at that point, because he understands, like, this is a world, well, like kind of X-Men-y, you know, where there's like people see things that they don't understand, and it's kind of it kind of freaks them out. And he saw how people freaked out about Clark before, and he's like he's trying to make things easier for his son, you know.
But it's difficult.
And it's in character for John Kent. I still think it would have been better if he'd have been like you know, he's trying to lift like a part of a car or off of somebody, and his heart gives out as he's doing it, and then the tornado takes him away.
No. Where it takes him is Oz. He ends up in Oz. where he ends up crushing the Wicked Witch of the East.
Yeah, it's like,
and then he gets greeted by the Munchkins.
Yeah, like Robin Hood just lands on top of the Wicked Witch of the East. Oh yeah, fun fact. Heck, both of Clark's dads are played by actors who played Robin Hood in this film.
Yeah, Carrie Elways, unlike either of them, has a British accent. Well, except for Russ. Okay, maybe unlike Kevin Costner, I should say.
Yeah.
But point stands.
Yeah,
Men in
I've
Tights is a
heard.
good movie.
Oh yeah, I love Men in Tights. That's a good film. Carrie Elwes can do all kinds of voices.
Even Aquaman.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing on.
The way Zack Snyder directs some of these scenes. Every single scene has shaky cam, and it's pretty disorienting. Even
Okay, so I was a professional, well, semi-professional movie critic around this time. Zack Snyder's shaky cam is fucking nothing compared to half the shit that was going on in Hollywood at this time. Like, if you're gonna complain about The Hunger Games, Battle Los Angeles, yeah, Michael Bay's, like, second, third, and fourth Transformers movies, he's fourth to a lesser extent and fifth to a giant extent.
You know, Doug
fucking,
ended up making a similar point in his bum review of Man of Steel.
The found
where it's
footage
like-
films.
where it's like Zod supposedly broke the hands of every cinematographer on set so that it looked like they had Parkinson's.
That's actually kind of a funny joke.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny joke, but still.
Yeah. Come on. And having a little bit of camera shake in there is not...
I'll grant him that the camera wasn't stationary.
Yeah. At
This
least
reminds
it's
me
not
of
the
that-
fucking MCU with that shit.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There was one guy who thought one of the fight scenes in Infinity War was filled with shaky cam. And one example that easily debunks this is Hulk versus Thanos,
Yeah.
where the camera may not have been stationary, but it was easy to keep track of.
Yeah.
You
See,
knew who was who.
a little bit of camera motion gives you a more natural feel to the film. It looks like there's, it looks like you're kind of there. There's more
looks
motion.
dynamic.
Yeah, you don't have this static shot of a friggin' TV show like we have in like Phase 2 MCU, where every single shot that is like they lost all the goddamn dollies, you know?
And we'll get to Phase 2 when we get to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, continuing on.
even just a scene of two characters having a normal conversation is going to have shaky cam. The action shots also employ other handheld camera techniques, and it's never motivated by anything other than the fact that it looks cool.
It
Why does
also,
this scene
okay, I
in
pause it
Battle-
again. It also helps mask the fact that all of it is CGI, which is something the MCU doesn't do. Like a lot of the camera techniques in these things, in the CGI scenes, are to help make them look more realistic, to help all of the visual effects blend together seamlessly into the film. So you have like the scene he just showed. I was like, oh well, doing this makes it, it has the scene of like the fucking terraformer, her coming in and then landing, and we see a panning shot of the terraformer, and then it lands, and then we have a snap zoom out to show the impact. In fact, let's go back there just a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
To start, I hate the way Zack Snyder directs some held camera techniques.
Okay,
It's never motivated
zoom
by
out.
anything other than the fact that it looks
Here.
cool. Why
Yeah.
does this
So we have that
battle
snap
look like it
zoom.
was shot by a human on Earth without a tripod? And I hate that he does this hand cam.
Okay.
Quick zoom.
Fucking. Okay. We're gonna have to figure out a better way to do this, because this is starting to get infuriating. But we'll just get to the end of this video. So here's the thing: we have all of these techniques in place that help the film look more dynamic and helps all of the visual effects blend in together. So we have this stuff, and it helps mask the fact that it's not a real camera. If you're asking why, I was like, why does this shot look like it was shot by someone on Earth without a tripod? It's because we're trying to make it look dynamic and interesting for the viewer, Oh, that's what I'd say if I was fucking making this movie. And I'd be right, because if you're just presenting it as is, cinematography is a big aspect of why film works, Well, if you just have
thing is
flat
that-
shots, it doesn't look interesting.
Even the Russo brothers were able to do this.
Oh, yeah.
To some extent in both their Captain America movies and both their Avengers films.
Like, people love to try and paint Zack Snyder like, oh, everything he does is just because it looks cool. There's no deeper reasoning behind it. But the thing is, like I've said, all of this stuff gives the film like this organic feel. In fact, like the film Surf's Up had they had this motion capture camera thing to try and make the panning of the camera feel like it was natural inside of the CGI animation, because the whole movie was CGI, and that helps make it look more naturalistic. It doesn't look as artificial as when everything's just like static and everything's smooth and things like that.
And something and there's like thing in animation where it's like sometimes there are shots that exaggerate some characters' anatomy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more to sell like a close up and whatnot.
Yeah.
For example, I sent you a gif of Grimjaw using his elbow spikes from Bleach. It's like there's a close-up shot of his elbow. Oh, that shows the spike jutting out, and then he shoots it at a column, in a fair distance away, and then the column just like explodes. Oh, and the main character Ichigo took like 5 of those to the back, and somehow could still fight.
Yeah. So I don't really get, even if it was true that he's only doing it to look cool, it's cinematography. If cinematography doesn't look cool, people are going to complain about it not looking cool. Like, people are gonna complain about the cinematography being boring if you don't make it look interesting.
And the point we're trying to make is that you gotta sell us the idea of certain things, not just
Right.
show it to
So,
us in
yeah.
static frame.
So if you,
Anyway,
yeah, and all this
For
helps sell the
everything,
movie.
He uses it so much in this movie. Stop using it in every scene.
Extreme close up!
I think the designs in this movie.
Uses it in every. You didn't. First off, you didn't just show us every scene in the movie, so.
No.
And I know, having
Not
just
every
seen
scene
this
in
movie
Zack
recently, yeah.
Not every scene in Zack Snyder's filmography he has this.
And not every
Zack
scene in
Snyder-
Man of Steel uses that either.
Batman v Superman doesn't have this all the time. It's only during like the action bits where it's trying to be dynamic. Like it's not during like say a slow tender moment and whatnot.
And snap zooms also look really cool.
Yes, it's called Rule of Cool for a reason. And there's a reason you don't question the fact that Death is playing a guitar on top of a mountain in the middle of a thunderstorm, with his guitar pick being that of a piece of his scythe. You don't question that because it looks fucking awesome. Anyway,
Movie are some of the worst I've ever seen. Like Superman's suit looks like shit, and I hate how it.
no,
It looks like shit because you're watching a shit encode, with the fucking saturation and sharpness turned up.
The suit looks awesome. Even I gotta admit that.
Oh yeah.
It's a little too blue, but I think it works.
I prefer that to the Superman Returns suit, because if we're having to choose between Superman Returns with like the bright yellows and the overdone blue and the darkened reds, I'll take this, because we have brighter reds, we have somewhat of a more muted steel blue, and the yellow is subtle, not blindingly gold.
Let's continue.
It's this dumb, futuristic alien mesh. And that's not the only thing that's ugly. All of the alien technology suffers from Michael Bay Transformers syndrome, where it just kind of looks like a mess of gray metal. There are also some other questionable design choices.
Well, so for the penis rockets, those were designed by the same guys who did the Zat guns from Stargate SG-1. And if you're ever at a convention,
So it wasn't even Zack Snyder's fault for these.
no, that's not Zack's fault. He didn't pick the fucking designers for these guys. It's like that's on Warner Brothers. And like the
Warner Brothers likes to pin the blame on Zack Snyder for everything.
And these things, these guys, if you're ever at a convention, ask the Stargate SG-1 cast about the Zat guns, and they'll say that they were incredibly unpopular for two reasons. One, you couldn't tell when you were firing them, and two, it looks like you're holding a giant dick in your hand.
More so than the actual penetrator from Saints Row 3.
Yeah. And I will defend this somewhat. They're not specifically meant to look penis shaped. They
Just
do
interpreted as such.
they're supposed to be like Egyptian coffins.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I could
this
see
is
that
a
it's supposed to be an Egyptian coffin.
yeah, this
but
is a sarcophagus. Like it looks kind of
at the very least,
phallic,
it's
yes,
not
but it
the,
is.
At the very least, it's not the hair on Yue from the last Airbender, whose hair looks like.
Oh my god, I was just thinking about that.
Oh god.
Because, especially from the way that scene was shot.
God, I remember.
M. Night Shyamalan, you're a fucking dumbass.
Anyway,
That's a penis.
Oh, and also, the movie itself is kind of boring, because it's too long. The opening scene is a good example of.
It's barely 2 hours.
It's a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a little over 2 hours, but like
I didn't know that a little over 2 hours was too long.
you can't cut anything from this movie and have it
This
still
isn't
make
like-
sense.
This isn't like the Batman where it could have lost like a half hour, maybe an hour and still make sense.
Well, the Batman also could have had like, if they'd added more runtime, it would have been better. But the thing is, you can fix anything by adding more runtime to it.
We'll get to that movie when we get to it. Anyway.
Good
Yeah.
example of things being too long for no reason. I don't need to see Superman's dad flying around on a dinosaur and doing karate. I know the planet's gonna blow up. Let's just speed it up.
Tim, the scene of him fighting with Zod. Zod is trying to get Kal-El, to keep Kal-El from going away. If Jor-El doesn't fight off General Zod's guys, as to go get the Codex and to keep Zod away from the ship, there is no plot.
Yeah, there is no plot. There is no Krypton. Krypton quite literally lives in Superman.
Right. So if here's the thing. Jor-El is at the council when Zod performs his coup. Zod's guys go in and take over. And they capture Jor-El and they're like, "Okay, take us back to your place. We gotta like check you out or whatever." And then Jor-El beats them up and he goes and gets on his. I've got the order of events in my head out of order. But the point is like if Jor-El doesn't beat up some of the Sword of Rao guys, there's no plot.
I mean, hell, there wouldn't be any plot if Jor-El had let Brainiac end up arrested. If Jor-El had let Brainiac just get away with all the info about Krypton and not learn the truth about the fact that, yes, Krypton would have been blown up. He would have just, stayed in it.
Right.
In his home.
Just like
and Krypton would have just blown up and Brainiac would have gotten away without anyone knowing. There would be no hope for Krypton.
From Superman the Animated Series, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to be bringing up that quite a lot in this. Anyway,
each of these scenes
The
has a
movie's
plot
also 2.5
reason.
hours
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
long, and if you look at the plot, it's kind of hard to understand where they're filling this time.
Who exited?
Because it's not a complicated story. Superman lands on.
Oh, Dylan had to go.
Alright. Anyway.
On Earth, he grows up, he finds out who his family is, immediately after Zod shows up, and he fights him for an hour. The last third of this movie.
Between Superman and Zod lasts 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last hour is not him fighting.
No.
Like, there's heroism strewn throughout.
Yeah. Anyway.
Is just blind mass destruction and violence. It's basically a 60-minute long Dragon Ball fight. And it's not like this movie even has the cool action directing that Snyder is known for. It's literally just characters slamming into each other for an entire hour. After a while, you just become desensitized to it. My eyes just glaze over as it keeps
This
going.
is not Michael Bay's
drawing out.
Transformers.
No, it isn't.
The way they fight each member of the Sword of Rao and the way they ultimately wind up beating the Sword of Rao. Now, like, the humans have one way that they're doing, and they fail. They fail completely. Okay, but they still manage to, like, help Superman a little bit. And then, like, once the Black Zero goes back to the Phantom Zone, or gets eaten by the black hole or whatever. Because I don't.
It's a black hole.
Yeah.
It didn't
Yeah,
get-
once it gets eaten by the black hole, they the fight between Zod and Superman is very different to how they were fighting earlier, because Zod has fully realized his powers, whereas the other members of the Sword of Ra hadn't at that point. They were rough. They were acting on like maybe 25% power, and then Zod turns things up to 11.
Mhm. And he's actually trained himself to hone his senses so that he wouldn't get affected by the sensory overload.
Yes,
So
you
he's
you see
says-
that.
and he outright tells Superman, he's like, "I've trained myself to hone my senses. Where did you train? On a farm?"
So you have the warrior versus the guy who knows the area. And, Clark spent 33 years being accustomed to Earth's, to Earth's gravity and all the effects of Earth. But Zod is a fucking maniac,
Yeah. Anyway.
And I care less and less. And the destruction in this film is borderline apocalyptic. This is the
Yes, that's the point. Also, you say you care less and less. That's a you thing, buddy.
Yeah, that's a you problem, Marcus.
fucking end of the world. Superman is just blowing through Metropolis without any regard for civilian casualties. And
Okay, Superman was largely getting blown through Metropolis. At some point, you see that he is, like, scraping Zod against the side of the building, but he's trying to get him to let go. Trying to keep him from shooting his fucking laser eyes through the other buildings. There are points to everything he does in that fight,
Yeah, and it's not like he could just dictate where the fight goes.
He tried to take it out to
he's-
space. Zod took him back.
Yeah.
This is the point I've been making for 9 fucking years now.
And to top it off, it ends with Superman murdering Zod.
Oh,
which
like
is
Superman
just
2 did.
So very wrong.
No. Superman 2
Clearly,
2
it has
ended
to be
like that.
Superman 2. And Superman 2, Clark didn't even give a shit that he murdered Zod.
He
And Zod was powerless.
flew off into the camera at the end of the movie, and like, heard the door, I saved the door.
Yeah, and meanwhile, here, Superman actually mourns the loss of life.
Also, Zod fucking deserved it.
Yes, and Zod made it very clear,
You,
I'm going to kill you and every person on this planet.
Right. And like,
And
you saw it.
Superman had no means of containing this guy. He
saw-
didn't have a Phantom Zone projector like he does in Superman the Animated Series.
Did you see the people over in the corner cowering away from Zod's laser eyes?
Yeah,
And I don't wanna-
Superman- No, covering his eyes would not have.
Yeah, I
made
was
things
gonna
better.
say,
it might have made things worse.
It would have burned his goddamn hand. We saw that earlier in the movie during the Smallville fight.
I've already clowned on this scene before, so I'm not gonna repeat myself too much. If you're strong enough to snap his fucking neck and leave a shockwave afterwards, then why don't you just aim his face somewhere else?
mean, like,
Because
dying
he
into.
is
But Zod's
General
strength
Zod.
Zod was trying to. Zod was struggling in there. You could clearly see that. Just because Superman is strong doesn't mean Zod isn't just as strong.
Exactly.
These are two characters who have demonstrated the exact same strength level, and it's not like Superman and had really any other means of doing this. He really didn't have much choice.
No kryptonite, no red sun generator, no phantom zone.
Nothing.
Whole
This is-
lot of goddamn nothing.
Yeah, so... Oh, he had no choice. Anyway...
You didn't even try! But the reason
He
this sucks
literally did.
starts at the fundamental misunderstanding of Superman as a character.
No, it doesn't.
Number one job of a super...
This is actually the point where Superman learns the value of life and tries not to take another life. That's literally the whole point of this scene and why Superman mourns the loss of Zod.
Let's keep going.
superhero movie is to make us like the main character. We don't
And
even really
killing the
fully
bad
agree
guy
on a personal level. We
doesn't
just
make
have
us
to
like
do
him.
something for them. Even the fucking Joker movie gets this right. Yes, Joker is a psychopathic murderer, but we still kind of empathize with him in his movie. Yet this is a movie about a good guy. Some would argue the goodest guy that's ever existed, and yet we feel nothing for him. The best Superman stories focus on his humanity because that's the key to making us like him.
Like
He was
Man of
raised
Steel
on
did then.
Earth, he was raised by humans, and his full life of experiences up to this point is that of a human on Earth. He's a human first. A human that just so happens to also be an alien. And this is something that I have never seen written well in a Superman movie. I think the laziest shit that you can do with this character is compare him to Jesus. And that's
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Who are you? What have you sacrificed? Zack Snyder didn't even start the Christ comparisons. That was Richard Donner. Technically, it was also George Lothar, but it was also Richard Donner.
Let's get into that discussion after Marcus has finished explaining his shit opinion.
all Zack Snyder does. Do you get it, guys? What does this remind you of? For a movie like this to work, you just have to make us relate to the superhero. And it's really not that hard to do if you just try, but this movie doesn't even try to do that. Take the...
So first he says that all Zack Snyder tries to do is compare Superman to Jesus Christ Superstar, and then he says that we can't even relate to Superman, and I'm like,
Sure. Yeah, you can't relate to Superman. You've never wanted to help people.
yeah,
Never
you never wanted to do the right thing.
never done the right thing and have it backfire on you, you know? Oh, like, come the fuck on.
For real. Anyway.
This simple scene of Clark washing up on shore after saving people in the beginning of the movie. He doesn't have any clothes, and he just sees some clothes lying around. Clark finds the unattended clothing outside, he takes them, and he continues on his way. But what if we take the opportunity to have a cute character moment that's specific to Superman? I personally don't think Clark Kent would steal clothes even if he really needed them. I could see him awkwardly going up to the door and asking for the clothes. This would be a cute chance to have some fun dialogue showing that Clark is nice almost to a fault. Oh, sorry,
I mean, sure, we could have that, but then that scene would get cut because it's like,
Because it's not it's not really that integral to the story.
no, like, and if it wasn't, I get the feeling that it would also have turned into one of these, like, stupid MCU scenes. Like, if we're going down on the path that you seem to want it to go down, Cosmo, because, like, okay, maybe we could do it with one line of dialogue. Like, Clark goes up to the door, knocks on the door, is like, hi, hey, do you have any spare clothes? Cut to him in, like, a set of spare clothes. Okay, fine.
Yeah, just do
we can
that. That's fine.
we can do that. We'll have that, but you know, either way, hey, this kind of shows like we're a little bit pragmatic here, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's I didn't have a problem with this. I'm the biggest Superman fanboy on the face of the goddamn planet. I didn't have a problem with this.
And
You
meanwhile,
know?
you still didn't know who Dan Turpin was.
Well, yeah, but that's because I didn't really watch Superman the Animated Series.
I did. And he's also a character in the comics.
I didn't have cable.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. That scene would be too long. We have to have a short scene like this one because we spent the first 20 fucking minutes of the movie on space battles and dinosaurs and karate.
Yeah,
What's the
space
waste time
battles and
focusing on
dinosaurs and karate, establishing the culture of Krypton, the fact that Zod and his guys are badass, the fact that Jor-El was kind of a badass too, you know, giving us credibility to the world that actually helps later on in the goddamn movie.
That totally sounds complicated.
It's called world building, Marcus.
boring character development? Who cares about that? Hey, by the way, did you know that Superman's hair is too thick for normal razors? He actually has to use his laser vision to fry the hair off of his face. Oh, and it looks like Clark...
Okay. What's the point here?
Plus, there's not really.
Are you
like,
complaining about him not... about there not being a scene
No,
of him
I think
shaving?
I think he's complaining about the fact that Superman isn't doing like one of those cutesy things when he doesn't have a fucking mirror to shave himself.
Yeah, I mean, he
In
could have
both
gone
those
into like
scenes-
any public restroom and done it. But the thing is that that's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's irrelevant. And this isn't like one of those things where we could have had a scene like that, like in both that scene from Smallville and in Superman the Animated Series.
Well, that was not Smallville. That was Lois and Clark.
No, that was Smallville.
Are you sure? Because I thought that was Dean Cain.
Yeah. Yes, that's Smallville.
Okay.
I'll have to look into that and find out a bit more.
See, I thought that was... It looked like Dean Cain to me, but then again, and like the effects from Lois and Clark didn't improve all that much on the way to Smallville.
Yeah, maybe in hindsight it might have been in Lois and Clark. But anyway, it's like Superman had... It's like those were meant to just be like, you know, short casual moments where Superman just uses his powers for mundane things like that.
And we could have gotten that in a Superman sequel. It's a shame that didn't happen, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers wanted to beat out the MCU.
Meh.
Anyway.
Looks like Clark Kent has a beard in this movie. Maybe it would be cute to have a scene of his morning routine. Sometimes showing a superhero doing a basic morning routine, but with a superpowered twist, can help us relate to them. But no, his beard just vanishes between
One's a
scenes.
2-hour
We can't waste
movie
time
and
on
the
shit
other
like
is
that.
a
We have to
20-hour
get to the
video
action
game.
movie. In this movie, while we are being...
If I have to spend time... Because when you are making a movie, you are spending time. There is an amount of time that the audience is willing to sit through. There is the amount of time that you were able to get while making the film. There is the amount of time that the theaters and the studio will give you for making the movie.
And there's a reason why
Zack
those
Snyder
scenes-
has been fighting with Warner Brothers over the run times of his movies for years now. If you added a scene of Clark Kent shaving, congratulations, you've just done what Superman the movie did and wasted a bunch of time, resources, and money on a scene that doesn't fucking need to exist. Because
Yes, and like I said,
it's irrelevant. We can just think, oh, well, he did that, you know? Oh, he shaved somehow. We don't have to see every little thing. This is this is what we call montage, as you were saying, you know? Oh, like, this scene follows this scene. Obviously, he figured out how to shave at some point, because he does not have a ZZ Top beard.
right?
Introduced to Clark Kent, we see him attempt to stand up to a guy who's harassing a waitress. Clark then gets bullied by the man and gets so embarrassed that he goes outside and does this to his truck when nobody is looking. This
Embarrassed. Huh?
Embarrassed. No, that guy was an asshole and got his comeuppance.
Yeah. He deserved it.
Yeah, and then, like, let's go back to the trucker scene in Superman 2 where he goes and beats the guy up. Yeah, no, I prefer this. Because this guy's a fucking dick.
This is pretty fucking sinister.
Sinister.
Clark Kent doesn't exact revenge on people in petty ways like this.
Petty. Yeah, sure. I mean, he could have beaten the guy up like he did in Superman 2.
Arguably even more petty.
No, he just takes the guy is a fucking creeper. He's creeping on the woman who doesn't want him to, and then he gets his fucking comeuppance. I knew this scene was gonna come up because this is a incredibly frequent complaint people have, and
aside from the infamous, what was I supposed to do? Let him die? Maybe.
And the neck snapping thing, yeah.
Let's see if he talks about that.
First time I saw this movie, I really thought that this guy was gonna try to punch Clark in the face and then like break his hand or something, and then Clark would be embarrassed and apologetic. And I don't like implying that I can write these scenes better because I'm not a screenwriter.
Well, you can't.
He really can't.
You can't, Marcus. Also, if he'd have apologized to the guy, fuck you. That wouldn't have been a good thing. Like
maybe
this.
Maybe if it were more like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, did that hurt?"
That actually might have been funny. Yeah, that would have been a good line. But he, as it is, playing it straight. I think worked better. Where it's like this guy, does all this stuff and tries to mess with Clark, and he's just a fucking wall. It's like attacking a brick wall.
Anyway,
want to write a movie, but these are just alternatives that pop into my head when I see something that doesn't seem right to me. This doesn't feel right for Superman. Now, about an hour into this movie, we see that Clark accepts his role as a superhero, but by this point, we don't know anything about him as a person other than the fact that he wants to do good.
Have you not been paying attention to the rest of the goddamn movie?
all he wants is to do good.
Yes, that is the point of the film. Thank you, Marcus.
We don't really... Clark is one of those people that is the goodest of the good.
Like, you complain about him not being good enough. It's like, he's all he wants to do is good. Oh, well, fuck, all he wants to do is good. Must be something wrong with that.
Isn't that enough? No, he has to be a bipolar or Nimrod. What is he, Katsuki Bakugo?
At least with Bakugo, that makes sense.
Yes, because Bakugo is bipolar.
Yeah.
Which is a trait that every superhero just comes packaged with, so it's not really that special.
Yeah, except for the fact that this is Superman.
Yes, he is
the OG.
As in, most of these superheroes were inspired by him.
Like, him... He's figuring out how to do the best good as like something or something, somebody or something, greater. He's not. And then, like, by the end of the film, he figures out how he can do good as like Clark Kent.
And the Ultimate Edition actually he shows off of how both Superman and Clark Kent do good, as opposed to the theatrical cut, which cut out all of Clark's scenes. Fuck the theatrical cut so hard.
Jeff Johns, I want to fucking punch you.
Fly for the first time, uninhibited, may look cool, but it kind of feels hollow because we don't know this person. And after
we literally spent the first hour of the movie getting to know this guy.
Yes, and how does Marcus not pick up on this?
Let's put aside the Krypton stuff for a second, because like the opening sequence on Krypton, and it sets up everything that comes later. Let's just talk about the stuff in the flashbacks and everything up to here.
We kind of learn about Clark in Superman the Animated Series as well. oh, like he's just trying to figure things out. But then we cut to him being Superman, and like I think midway through the second episode of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really need to go through his entire childhood up to this point. Like maybe up to like a teen, and cut to him being Superman.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of fair. But this movie kind of wants to tell the story of how during his adult years he got to that point. It's something that I don't think has really been done before. Anyway,
He becomes Superman. We don't get any scenes of him saving people or doing anything Superman-like. We don't get to...
What do you call the oil rig scene at the start? The school bus scene? The fucking tornado scene?
I think he might be referring to, like, after he puts on the suit, but still we do get to see him do Superman things. Even prior to this.
After he puts on the suit. Sure. I mean, yeah, let's fucking go with let's fucking roll with that. And so, he saved the world from General Zod. That's about all he fucking needed to.
Be Superman. It skips the part where the superhero does superhero stuff, and it goes straight to the final battle. I'm not lying. This movie basically
Battle of
is an intro-
Smallville, anybody? No, it doesn't go straight to the final battle.
Marcus is this fucking liar.
He's either a liar or he's just fucking stupid.
Maybe both.
Yeah, I mean, I'd believe either at this point.
Anyway.
Flashback leading up to Superman becoming a superhero, and then the final battle begins. This makes it even weirder in future movies when the characters in this world see Superman as a hero, because as far as I'm concerned, he's a war criminal.
War criminal. I'm not going to ask you to elaborate on that. I'm just going to explain that Superman, Lois Lane is writing about Superman. He's this like mythical creature that
He's like a fucking unicorn.
Yeah, he's this mythical creature that everybody like knows vague things about but doesn't really understand. Like they don't put all of the stuff that he's done together because wherever he goes it's just some guy, you know? Oh, like this guy ripped the door off of this thing. An angel bathed in flame came to the guys at the oil rig and ripped off the door.
And going into Superman the Animated Series, the series starts off with people not knowing who he is. They just hear that he saved this little girl from falling off this really high ledge. And he caught her and then put her back up there. And they said, oh, he's like an angel or something.
Yeah. Like I said, the angel bathed in flame came to the guys in the oil rig. He stopped the tower from collapsing on the Coast Guard helicopter, you know? Just like all kinds of stuff happens even before he puts on the goddamn suit, and then he saved the goddamn world from an invading alien and his army. And there was, you know, I get the feeling that Marcus is saying that the final battle is here's what he's saying. The final battle to him is the second that Zod shows up. Not even the second the Battle of Smallville starts. You know? It's the second Zod shows up, and I don't fucking get it.
I really don't either.
Because
the first thing he does when he is publicly revealed is destroy the fucking city.
Did you see him trying to keep his hometown from getting blown up by the fucking Sword of Ra? Did you see him pushing Zod up into the sky, and then Zod pushes him back down into the city because Zod is explicitly trying to get as many people killed as he can? Did you see any of that, Marcus?
Clearly, no. He's like every other detractor of this movie. They don't see the villain.
We're not even.
They don't see the villain trying to cause this destruction. No, they see the hero.
Yeah, we're almost halfway through this. We're almost halfway through the video, and Marcus has spent more time on Man of Steel than he has on BVS so far.
Destroys the local 7-Eleven, the local Sears, and the local IHOP, and that kind of domestic terrorism would never be forgiven.
Did you notice that all of those scenes are of Superman getting thrown into them by the bad guy?
Well, maybe not the 7-Eleven, but the other buildings, yeah.
Yeah, the Sears and the fucking... And, like, there's a bit in the script where, like... And granted,
like
this scene was cut, but it was elaborated on in the novel. Well, that the Sears was the Sears that Clark and Jonathan went to all the time when he was a kid. You know? And he's like, damn it, this place is getting destroyed, and I wish I wasn't getting my ass kicked right now. Oh, you know?
And the thing is, like, even if the weird product placement in that fight kind of takes me out of it a bit, it's still a good fight.
I mean, I live in a small town, and I live in a small town that's probably smaller than the actual place they shot it. And I have, well, when I was a kid, you know, we had a Sears, we have a Lowe's, we didn't have a 7-Eleven, but you know, there is an IHOP not too far from here. You know,
yeah, same here.
Like, I'm looking at this as somebody who lives in a small town, and I'm like thinking, okay, nothing seems out of place here aside from like the 7-Eleven. But we have convenience stores, so if you're gonna have a convenience store, you might as well have one that actually exists.
Right. Anyway.
Hero right is as simple as understanding their parents or their mentors. And in this movie, his dad is so fucking obsessed with Clark hiding his identity that he dies for it. No, stop, my invincible son. Do not save my life. A core value.
There's a chance he might not have been able to do it anyways. Like I understand that it's kind of stupid, but like,
even if my version of this as both Jonathan and Martha being alive and well, it's still like Jonathan means something to Superman, whether he's alive or dead.
Yeah. And like him being paranoid like that had of like, you know, try to... This is elaborated on in Batman v Superman when, you know, John Kent's whatever the fuck ghost thing shows up and starts talking about how, you know, heroism sometimes has unintended consequences. And that's what he's trying to shield Clark from the unintended consequences, potential unintended consequences of his actions. That's all it comes down to. He's trying to be a good parent.
Yes.
And Martha Kent is that they encourage Clark to use his powers to help people. But in this movie, Jonathan Kent tells Clark that he should have let children die as opposed to revealing his powers.
Now we get to this scene.
No, he really doesn't. He says...
doesn't know.
He outright says, I don't know, that's a decision you have to make.
Clark decided to make a decision, and that's kind of what brings about this uncertainty.
Like, this is kind of an inverted version of, like, the Uncle Ben Peter Parker thing. And we're like, you know, Ben was saying, and, you know, you kind of gotta, if you can, you kind of gotta do good things for people. Oh, and Clark is thinking, like, if I can, I kind of gotta do good things for people. Oh, and John Kent is, like, saying, you know, sometimes if you do good things they have unintended consequences. This is which is something that is, like, very much a thing that happens in the real world. Like, you'll do a good thing, and then all of a sudden something bad will happen, and because of that, like, if you say you like save a save a dog from from oncoming traffic, and then that dog goes and bites somebody, you know? Well, that dog wouldn't have bit somebody if you'd let it get run over, but if you didn't let it get run over, if you let it get run over, you'd feel like shit, you know? But you feel like shit now anyways, so what the fuck, you know? Well, real life isn't this simple, Marcus.
It really isn't. Anyway.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
What the fuck? Can you picture Aunt May or Alfred saying that shit? Oh, you should have let those kids die instead of revealing your secret identity. And another way that I think you can easily get people to like Superman is to make Lois Lane work. If you can
Like
do a
they did in this
superhero
movie?
romance really
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they did.
well,
By not
people
making
will
her a
react.
complete dumbass like they did in Superman the movie.
I mean, hell, even in Superman the animated series, when she's smart, he's still just, a tad oblivious.
Yeah.
Just because she's intelligent doesn't mean that she picks up on these certain things.
Especially when Clark comes out and outright says what's going on to her.
He's like, well, I'm actually secret. Because Lois honestly could not bring herself to believe that.
Yeah.
Because it just seems too ridiculous. Because, like, it's one of those like, Cassandra truths. It's a psychology thing. You don't expect to be working with a superhero on a daily basis. You don't see a superhero on the daily basis.
Yep.
That's the whole point of that psychology thing. It's brought up in Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in a really good way.
Very good show. Very good comic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
No,
buy the
just
recent
look
reissue,
at
though.
Spider-Man and Mary Jane. People fucking love those two together. But a lot of the Spider-Man movies do a really good job of making sure that the two main actors have chemistry together.
Yeah,
This
like the
movie
MCU Spider-Man films totally didn't.
Well, they did work on that chemistry.
They got there eventually.
Far From Home and No Way Home.
Yeah, they got there
And plus,
eventually.
It also helps that like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, Tom Holland and Zendaya were ended up becoming a thing.
Yeah.
So it does kind of help.
Movie has more scenes of Lois fucking around and doing boring ass investigative journalism.
You
than
mean her
scenes of
goddamn job? You mean the scenes that lead to her finding out who Superman is and lead to her becoming involved with the plot and becoming one of the people who helps save the world, that little tidbit during the final battle that you keep going on about but apparently haven't watched or paid attention to in its entirety. You know, that thing.
Also Nikon camera.
Yeah.
And
interacting
one of her
with
coworkers
Superman.
uses a Nokia
And I'm not
phone.
saying her character has to be tethered to Clark Kent at all times, but
that is what you're implying. That is what's heavily being implied here, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
But if this series wants us to feel anything for them, we need to actually see them talking in some substantial way.
Yes, like the scene where she finds out his secret identity.
Or where they get a little intimate in the bathtub.
Yes.
As silly as that scene kind of is, it's like, at the very least, you can tell how close they are.
Yeah.
Instance, this is the first scene of them together.
Yes, it's him saving her goddamn life, Marcus.
He's cauterizing a wound. He's not trying to kill her. Has he not heard of cauterization?
He literally says, I need to cauterize the wound. This is gonna hurt.
And she's like, okay, yeah, alright. And even when she braces herself, it still hurts.
Romantic. And it doesn't help that Lois Lane is probably the most fucking boring character in this entire series. Her lines are particularly bad.
Harry, come on, it's me we're talking about. I'm a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter.
Who the fuck talks like this? Now, you might...
Pulitzer Prize winning reporters talk like that, Marcus.
Yes, exactly.
Also, she's trying to argue with Perry at the moment that he needs to publish the story about Superman. You know,
Yes.
the main plot of the goddamn film. Is in the title. It's called The Man of Steel.
It's not, you know, Lois Lane.
Could be saying, Marky, you said it's okay for movies to change stuff from the comics, but sometimes you get upset when they make a change. And I didn't think I'd have to explain this outright, but I don't think some people get it. I've always said that changes are good if they work in the context of that story. I always say I like how the Mandarin is changed in Iron Man 3 because I think for that story, it makes perfect sense. But then
And then they retconned that in Shang-Chi.
Technically, they retconned it in All Hail the King first, but, you know, All Hail the King didn't completely fuck up the continuity of the MCU. So, you know.
Yeah, Shang-Chi ended up doing that. And then the continuity got fucked up further by Eternals. Anyway.
I also said that I don't like the movie version of Civil War because the comic book version, to me, has a lot more emotional significance.
The comic book version has nothing.
It literally has nothing. in
Like,
it.
the central conceit of the goddamn story couldn't be agreed upon by anybody at Marvel. Nobody knows what the Superhero Registration Act said.
And plus, on top of that,
They at least gave a summary of what the Sokovia Accords were supposed to goddamn do, and they stuck with it.
Yes, even if the Sokovia Accords were a bit dumb, they still stuck with that narrative and explained it. And on top of that, this is the reason why it happened is centered around the main cast, not because of these nobodies who happen to just blow up a town.
Which I'm sure has to happen on a regular basis in the Marvel Universe because, you know, they have literally trillions of superheroes on that planet.
Yep.
It's a comic book storyline that was built up over a much longer period of time, and I think that they should have done that with the movie.
Oh, please. It was barely built up. For fuck's sake, Marcus. That comic, they started the fucking, the dynamics in that comic were not chosen based on anything that made sense. Granted, the ones in the movies weren't necessarily either, but
at least there was something.
They bothered to do something.
Yes. Even in Age of Ultron, they bothered to do something. And by showcasing Steve and Tony's ideologies, he's looking like they're about to come to a head.
Yeah, they have. They at least had the characters who are on the opposite sides of this talk and show why they disagree, as opposed to the Civil War, where it seems like they just kind of flipped a coin on every single character, or at the very least
Captain
thought.
America's the one who sucker punched Iron Man in that.
Yeah. I don't buy that for a goddamn second.
Anyway.
Version. My general idea is that I'm open to change in a comic book movie if the change works. I'm not one of...
Doesn't sound like he's very open to change. Sounds like he's only open to the changes that he would blindly agree with.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm sure people could say the same thing about us, but at the very least, we tend to try and find some kind of logical consistency.
Yes, we try to compromise on this. We have disagreements, and we discuss this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of those people who's immediately gonna write off a comic book movie because it's not accurate. The Aquaman movie is very different from the comic books, but I think it is different in a way that works.
The Aquaman movie is only technically different from the comic books if you're talking about, like, the Silver Age comics. This is very much post-crisis Aquaman, guys. It's got...
Granted,
it's literally the Throne of Atlantis storyline, for fuck's sake.
Granted, it has better action scenes than the Throne of Atlantis movie, but still.
Yeah. I mean, for those of us who actually read the fucking Aquaman comics and know who Arthur Curry is, you know, It's not
I
that
grew up
different.
with the Justice League animated series Aquaman, and he was fucking badass.
Yeah.
Even with the hook hand.
And the hook hand era of Aquaman was fucking awesome, even if the way he got in the comic was a little bit dumb. But you know,
At least in the show, he actually gave up his hand.
yeah,
and to save
that
his son.
that was fucking amazing.
Movie feels wrong on every level because it doesn't improve Superman with any of these changes. The changes make him worse. So Superman's girlfriend doesn't work, Superman's parents don't work, and Superman himself doesn't work. Zod works.
I mean, you've
That's
come
not
to this
enough.
conclusion based on your opinion, but you know.
His very shallow.
Did you also left out the whole thing about like Lois saving Clark and then Clark saving her and then them having that little moment right before Zod decides that it's time to blow the planet to hell?
Yeah.
These characters don't act like real people, so the movie fails. If I didn't know a single thing about Superman...
Oh wow, because Superman's supposed to be a real old person.
You know, I buy all of these characters as real people more than I buy any of the people from fucking Superman the movie. You know? Because, like, Lois Lane in those movies, she's too stupid to live. Superman / Clark Kent, it's just too fucking cartoony. General Zod...
I do like the bit in the Donner cut of Superman 2 where Lois just flat out tries to test.
See, that's...
Is very suspicious, and then she's like, alright, let me test this theory.
See, that's like the one smart aspect of Lois Lane's characterization in those 5 movies, you know?
She at least tried.
Yeah.
Anyway.
About Superman, this might be a little more acceptable, but I think it does a really bad job at exploring this character. And unfortunately, this movie doesn't do anything to convince people that Superman isn't a boring character. The only reason this movie isn't dog shit is because it looks like a masterpiece in comparison to the next movie. So 4 out of 10, let's get on to the real shit now. I think Batman v Superman is my least favorite superhero movie of all time.
Okay, that is very different.
Superhero movies.
No. I will give him least favorite, but that's not the title of the video, Marcus. The title of the video is Batman v Superman, worst superhero movie ever made?
Yeah.
Everything that I've ever criticized a superhero movie for is present in Batman v Superman. Plus, there is...
I just love that Batman basically like, oh shit.
Wait, that's my thing.
some things that I didn't even know.
Look, it's like I didn't really have anything to say about that particular scene, but I just wanted to point out that was kind of a funny oh shit moment.
I hated until I saw this movie. Oh, and look, I can watch the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, the Ultimate Edition that actually
is objectively better.
Yeah, also you can buy it for less than on Blu-ray for less than the rental price is.
Fucking $1 at UltraCon.
Yeah.
A literal $1. I asked them, "Hey, how much is this movie? How much is this?" They're like, $1.
Yeah.
With tax? No, just $1. I'm like, okay, here you go.
Yeah. Cons are really good for that, by the way. You can pick up all kinds of things for $1 because the dealers for used DVDs and movies and stuff like that, most of them don't, like, if they don't have prices on something, and it's just like here's, just buy however much you want for $1 a piece. Sometimes it's like $2 a piece, but it's really fucking good.
Marcus watched this version of the movie, and yet he still thinks it's the worst, even though the stuff it adds actually helps the narrative.
Yeah.
An extra half hour of movie? Gee, thanks, Mom, you shouldn't have. So let's dive
Completely
right
ignoring the fact...
So this movie introduces us...
Completely ignoring the fact that the film was shot as two 2-hour movies, and then cut to hell in editing, and there's still an hour we've yet to find. Yeah.
See, it's almost like Marcus doesn't know anything about filmmaking.
Can you maybe do a little bit of fucking research, Marcus? It was announced as 2 movies. How do you not know this?
Because Marcus is like Jeremy Scott.
The research doesn't matter.
To Zack Snyder's version of Batman, which I've already criticized heavily in the past. I mean, I guess I'd probably be a murderer too if my dad was fucking Negan. Now I should probably let you guys...
What was the point of that? Yeah, actors play other roles, Marcus. Welcome to Hollywood. It's what we do.
I mean, hell, how many acting credits do Vic Mignogna and Johnny Young Bosch have again?
Lots. I think it's over 200 apiece.
Yeah. Even Vic's detractors have a lot of credits. Actors, whether you like them or not, are cast in multiple different roles.
I mean,
even if they can't actually play them.
See, I can also come back here and say, oh, well, you know, what do you expect casting fucking Mr. Mom as Batman or whatever the fuck? Fuck, you know, this. I get that we're overanalyzing a joke, but come on, Marcus, that wasn't funny.
It really wasn't. Anyway.
Probably let you guys know that Batman is in fact my second favorite superhero. And I fully believe that there are some things you should never change when it comes to Batman.
Such as
Number
the
one,
aspect ratio
Batman
of his
doesn't
show.
use guns.
He used a cropped version of the animated series. It's supposed to be in 4:3. Oh, hey, look, it's that comic, but written by that guy who's a total fucking hypocrite.
This is the weapon of the enemy. We do not need it. We will not use it. Coming from the Batman who saved somebody by shooting a bad guy and killing them with a gun earlier in the same comic. Yeah.
I don't think he killed that guy. He might have intimidated him, but still.
It's ambiguous in the comic. In the movie, it's clear that he didn't shoot the guy, but in the comic he shoots like a fuel tank and the guy blows up. And we don't specifically see, but it's heavily implied that the guy is dead.
Right. Guns. Number 2, Batman doesn't kill people.
Watch / read every comic or movie ever made.
Except for when he does, and the comic writers just pussy out.
It's like...
Number 3.
Oh yeah, he totally didn't kill anybody in Batman Begins, Batman Forever, Batman and Returns, Batman the movie, Batman and Robin.
Tim Burton Batman is a fucking sociopath.
He's a goddamn nutcase.
And did Marcus completely gloss over Tim Burton Batman?
Apparently.
And he thinks Zack Snyder's Batman is a cold-blooded killer.
3. Batman doesn't use fucking guns to kill people.
You just showed a thing from one of the comics. Also, Batman had literally used guns to kill people early on in his comic career. Also, go fuck yourself.
I'll kill them all, says Adam West.
God fucking damn it, Zachary.
The world ended! The world goddamn ended! Batman is a combat pragmatist. If you think he's not gonna fucking use a gun when he's fighting against the forces of fucking Empire Superman, and he's Emperor Superman, and you're a fucking idiot. And at some point in time...
Also not forget the fact that at Darkseid had basically taken over the world
and
used the anti-life equation to control Superman.
At some point in time, you just gotta fucking nut up and live with yourself. Cause
Damian would nut up and live with that. And he was a trained killer beforehand. And he may not like it, but he'll go back to it if he has to.
And Batman, aside from the fact that Batman constantly kills people, Well, and they just don't admit it.
Jason kills people too.
Yeah. Aside from the fact that Batman constantly kills people and just doesn't admit it, he lifts the no-kill rule explicitly all the goddamn time.
Superman, a symbol of hope and optimism, and turned him into a war criminal with no emotions. So it's no surprise that his version of Batman gets rid of all nuance and just distills him down to an angry punching man.
Did you miss the part where he rescued the people from the human traffickers and, like, had all of these reasons for why he thought Superman and was the enemy, and also had the Flash forward in his fucking nightmare about it, also had the Flash come to him in what he thought was a dream and tell him that, you know, shit's fucked, yo.
Lois Lane's the key.
Yeah.
I really hope we can get more of Ray Porter's Darkseid. He sounds great.
That was fucking amazing. And I don't...
Now, if you're the kind of person who thinks Batman should kill people because it's more realistic, well, that's okay.
No, Batman should kill people. Batman should kill people because Batman has always killed people, and anybody who says that Batman doesn't kill people is an idiot, and whenever Batman says he doesn't kill people, he's a fucking hypocrite.
I try to at least be consistent with his characterization.
Like, that was my biggest problem with the Batman. He kills so many people going after the Penguin and all this stuff. Like, he is directly responsible for so many deaths in that movie. And then he says, like, oh, you can't kill Falcone, that'll make you a bad guy. I was like, fuck off, Bat. Fuck off, Bruce. Just snap the guy's neck. Would it make you feel better if we dropped him off a building?
You know, he snaps his neck and then throws him out the building.
Yeah, would it make you feel better if you dropped him off a building like you did to all of Riddler's henchmen? Or if you Gwen Stacy'd them like you did to the rest of Riddler's henchmen?
Or let's not forget the Arkham series, where Batman and has done neck-breaking injuries and shoved people into electric boxes.
Yeah, he beats these guys within an inch of their lives and then drops them in the snow. Yeah, they're definitely dead.
No, he just beats them up until all their bones are broken. He's like, now talk.
You broke my jaw, right? I got shake of the broken jaw, right?
Speak English.
Anyway.
If you think that way. His core value is that he values life above everything else. Because his world was shattered by a random act of violence, and he wants to prevent anyone from feeling the pain that he felt that day. And when people call him an anti-hero, they're actually completely wrong. None of this definition has anything to do with Batman.
I'd like to know where you got that definition from.
Probably got it off of TV tropes or something.
Okay, because
or maybe Wikipedia.
I mean, like, Shadow the Hedgehog is like an archetypal anti-hero, but he doesn't lack, like, heroism and morality. He feels, he like, genuinely...
into more of a hero, and Hal joins Gunn, for
Christ's
sake.
Well, like, in Sonic Adventure 2, for instance, he...
Yeah, and garners true companions in the form of Rouge and Omega.
Yeah. In Sonic Adventure 2, for instance, Shadow... It's not that he doesn't lack courage, he doesn't lack conviction. He feels like he's doing the right thing, he's just fucking wrong. You know?
Yeah, and then he remembered what the last request of Maria was.
Yeah, and then he bumped his head and forgot again.
And then he ends up remembering it all, but then
Shadow and Wolverine need to form a support group. Frequent amnesiacs.
Anyway.
An anti-hero. He works with fucking cops, he doesn't kill people, and he goes out of his way to save every life he can.
Oh yeah, using a shot from the Nolan series where he actively kills, like, a bunch of Al Ghul and Falcone and Joker's henchmen.
Albeit indirectly, but...
Oh, he directly killed a bunch of Ra's al Ghul's guys.
Please tell me he used a taser on them until they just like turned into a smoking corpse.
No, he just straight up blew up their fucking house.
Oh right, I forgot about that. Damn. Anyway,
if it's the life of someone evil, most of the time he's more of a good guy than Superman.
why is he using footage from Justice League Dark? You should never use footage from this fucking movie.
Justice League Dark is shit.
And so is Apocalypse War.
Also, more of a hero than Superman. Superman is, like, the ideal of hope. That's why his suite is called the Ideal of Hope, or an Ideal of Hope, rather. Her Batman is the embodiment of fear.
Yes, they are literally opposite. It's in that regard. That's what makes them so interesting in terms of their dynamic.
Like, Superman is hope, Diana is justice, and Bruce Superman is hope. Sorry, Superman is hope, Diana is truth and justice, and Bruce is fear and vengeance. Like I am the Knight, I am Batman. It's one of his most famous lines.
In the Batman animated series.
Yeah.
Literally in his first encounter with Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Man, but he's grumpy, so people just call him an anti-hero. And if you say, well, he's a vigilante, he works outside of the law, so that makes him an anti-hero. Well, then that makes everybody a fucking anti-hero. Superman and
Nobody's
Spider-Man are
making this
anti-heroes too,
argument.
by that logic.
Nobody is making this argument, Marcus. Why are we here? Why are we wasting time on this argument?
Because Marcus is a fucking Nimrod. That's why. Anyway.
Fucking Wonder Woman is an anti-hero. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
In that outfit, I'd believe it.
Yeah, it's the new 52 outfit.
Yeah.
Anti-hero because he does things that are not good to do, like fucking killing people. And I'm really not trying to gatekeep Super.
You do realize he's beating up bad guys there, right? Like, these guys fucking deserve it.
Yeah, and then he goes on to talk about the Lego Batman movie.
Like he's
over here. You can have different interpretations of the character, but I'm just saying there are a lot of things about these characters that people ignore because movies get them wrong as well. We look at Spider-Man and we accept the fact that he doesn't kill people because he's a cute, fun guy and he's nice. And if he killed people, it would make us sad. But Batman.
Time where he almost killed the Rhino and Shocker in the '90s show.
Yeah. And like.
Back here, Shocker.
And like.
With the worst bit of animation I've seen in a '90s cartoon.
I'm like thinking back now, and there's like a lot of the reason why he doesn't kill people is because some of these guys are like, they don't really. Some of them don't really get it. Some of them are like transformed against their will. Some of them are fucked up by their technology or whatever the hell. Like Lizard. Lizard was.
Let's not forget the amount of people you actually can end up killing in the Spider-Man PS4 game.
And the Spider-Man game for the Xbox, and Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3 before you even get the symbiote outfit. And like, I threw so many people off of the fucking buildings in Spider-Man for the PS4. Those guys are fucking dead.
And is an old grumpy guy, so people just assume he's supposed to murder people. If you ask me, this mentality is pretty dumb, and Zack Snyder is one of the people who thinks this way. So his Batman sucks shit, and we haven't even fucking started the movie. Alright, I'm gonna be here.
I love how Zack Snyder wears the same kind of ratty, worn-out t-shirts I do. Just a fun thing to note,
Yeah. And of course, Marcus hasn't even started the goddamn movie.
Yeah, it makes me.
How do you go on this tirade about Batman before you start the goddamn movie?
Here all day, I guess. Now, despite the fact that
we're gonna be here all day, more like it.
Let's see, we are 22 minutes into this 40-minute movie, and we're over 2 hours into the stream.
fact that I just ranted like a madman about Batman, let's accept the fact that this is the version of the character that we are given for this movie. I do think that this version of Batman would see the destruction of Metropolis, get mad, and swear to take down Superman. Because like I said in the last movie, Superman is a fucking monster, and nobody would ever be on his side if this was the real world.
Well, congratulations. Batman is the audience representation you asked for, then.
Yep.
Batman is literally, like, audience response here.
Mm-hmm. And last I checked, both the Avengers and Zack Snyder got some shit after, or both had led to the near destruction of their respective cities, New York and Metropolis.
Yeah. And Thunderbolt Ross was just as much in the wrong as you are, Marcus, because, fun fact, if the Avengers hadn't done anything there, the city would have been blown up, and so would the entire planet.
Yep.
Loki would be reigning on a throne of ashes.
No. Loki would just... No. Oh, if we're talking current day Loki, he would just be doing the Carlton. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
I will at least say that it's nice to see that this movie opens up with a different perspective on what we saw previously.
I want you to get everyone out of the building right now. You understand? Let's go. Come on, start moving now.
Wait, so you're telling me this guy only just now realized that evacuating is a good idea? Bro, if I
It kind of happened suddenly.
Yeah, it just kind of suddenly happened.
Like, people aren't gonna know what the fuck to do. Like,
they see this alien craft out here. They don't know what it's gonna do. They don't know if it has a laser beam.
Right, because most of the time, do you know what they tell people to do in scenarios like this? Stay in the goddamn building.
Yeah.
Because it's safer in there.
Pip destroying the city 2 blocks away, my ass is already out the building. I am not dying for an unpaid internship at Wayne Enterprises. So at the beginning of this movie, the story is pretty easy to follow. Superman did an oopsie and committed a war crime in the last movie.
Committed a war crime. That was Zod! That was literally General Zod doing that! Superman is not responsible for this! They invaded us!
Batman wants to kill him. And yes, you heard that right. I said kill. Anyway, now Lois Lane is doing some hardcore, super
Hey, remember the fact, since he's watching the Ultimate Edition, we actually get to see Jimmy Olsen's introduction scene.
Yeah.
Before he gets fucking murked.
Also, Lois Lane is doing her goddamn job for once. Yeah.
So
it's like, it's not like her doing things as a reporter is an interesting aspect of the movie.
Granted, I wish Jimmy Olsen didn't get utterly murked for this movie, but still, it was nice to actually see both of them doing their fucking job.
Yeah.
Look, I got some more appreciation for this movie, but here's the thing: I still hate certain things about it.
Exciting, really fun to watch. Investigative journalism.
It's called character development, Marcus. It's that thing you were complaining we didn't have enough of earlier.
Would ask that question.
Are you a terrorist group? Hope is the question Lois asked.
A regular journalist. That's something journalists ask quite frequently.
Anyway, to show us that this isn't your mama's Superman movie, Jimmy Olsen, Superman's best pal, gets fucking executed by terrorists.
I mean, granted, that's a CIA agent using the name. We don't know if that was the real Jimmy Olsen or not.
Okay, that actually makes a bit more sense now that you mentioned that part.
Yeah.
So maybe Jimmy is still around, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Just met this guy. He gets fucking domed immediately. If that doesn't prove to you that Zack Snyder hates Superman, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, he maybe killed a supporting character or who isn't key to the Superman mythos at all. You do realize it's not like he executed Lois Lane, right?
Here's the thing, Jimmy Olsen does end up being key to the Superman mythos in other iterations of the character, but not in this iteration.
No, and he's not key in every iteration, you know?
Yeah, I know that. Anyway.
Yeah,
Also,
let's keep going.
Can I just say, what the fuck is this scene for? We don't even know these people. Oh, well, I guess it doesn't
They're
matter.
the fucking backup! They're the goddamn backup that people were complaining that they didn't have! They're supposed to go in and ride in and save the day when the terrorists start doing terroristy things. They're Jimmy's backup gang.
And plus, on top of it, they're supposed to be the establishment of Lex Luthor's plot in this movie.
Yeah, and like, do you not get that? That there's a whole thing in the movie about how like they're there to play backup, and then they send in the fucking Predator drone, and the TAC guys give the Predator drone the finger, and then when Luthor's guys set all the bodies on fire, and these guys show up. These guys are the guys who rescue Lois from the fucking ruins of the goddamn building.
Time just to give Superman a guy to kill. And yes, I said kill.
I mean, he didn't
so it's
kill him, but if he did, he would have fucking deserved it. He's holding Lois Lane at fucking... If somebody's holding my girlfriend at fucking in point blank range like that, and I'm Superman, I might kill him. He's a terrorist. Nobody's gonna miss him.
And here's another thing. And you know what's another way Superman could have stopped, derailed that situation?
Melted the gun with his heat vision.
No, just use his heat vision to heat the gun to make it burn the guy's hand, and he'll drop it.
Oh yeah. Either way.
It's implied that someone is trying to frame Superman and make him look more violent than he is. But we already know based on
yes.
what these movies
Did you
have shown
see
us that he is?
Did you see the guys who are coming in here and seeing Luthor's little plot? Those were the guys from earlier in the movie.
We haven't even gotten
on the horses.
We haven't even gotten to Lex Luthor yet.
That was the point of the scene.
Kills people. Anyway, let's not worry about that. Let's instead look at one of the many unintentionally funny scenes of the movie.
Did you have something to say?
No, it's just...
Good evening.
Why is he crawling on the ceiling like Spider-Man? So one of the
because he's climbing out of a hole in the ceiling, like we just saw him do.
Things that Batman likes to do in this universe is use a fucking cattle iron to brand the villains like cows, so that when they go to jail, the other inmates know who they need to murder.
Except Bruce doesn't tell them to murder. Except Lex Luthor literally set this whole shindig up.
Yeah, Bruce
Did
is...
he not pick up on that?
Bruce is the one doing the branding, yeah, but Lex is the one killing them.
Yes, he's literally paying these guys off to do that so that it
It's-
makes Batman look bad.
It's none of Batman's business what the fuck happens in the prison.
This kind of roundabout second-hand murder is exactly what I'd expect from this version of Batman.
It's what I'd
So
expect
not
from
even that
any version of Batman. Did you remember the whole I don't have to save you bit from Batman Begins? You used footage from that movie. You used footage from the rest of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Evidently not.
If I get mad at every single insane thing that this man does, I'll probably die of a heart attack. Also, Zucker Lex is a fucking joke, but he's the only thing in this movie that exudes any life at all. He's the only thing in this movie that I can laugh at, so honestly, I cannot complain. Also,
I can. I don't like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
I do like him. I think that leaning into like the sort of younger version of Lex Luthor is something that nobody's really done before, or at least not in a movie.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't, ever picture this guy being charismatic. Lex, to me, has always
Excuse
been
me.
charismatic.
Excuse me. I don't know. He has this weird sort of appeal. Like, he's not. Granted, nobody is gonna be able to top the fucking Kurgan as Lex. You know.
Yeah, let's be real. Maybe Bryan Cranston could have.
Yeah, maybe Bryan Cranston, but like I like this version of Lex because he's like he's got this sort of weird allure to him.
In that one scene of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, once he's dropped the persona he's putting on here, because he's putting on this whack ass persona so that he can be sent to Arkham when all this is done. Because
well, now that you mention that, yeah, that does make sense.
Because this is all like a ploy if his plan fails. He looks psychotic, so he gets sent to Arkham, where it's easier for Deathstroke to break him out so that we can have the plot for the Batman. Oh wait, they took that title and gave it to somebody else.
Fuck. Anyway.
So now we're like 45 minutes into the movie, and so far all we've seen is people in desaturated scenes talking about how shitty everything is. I'm not a...
Would he like all the scenes to be saturated like shit?
Like they were in Justice League, where everybody looked like they had high blood pressure. And also it made the fact that they had all the saturation turned up to 11 made all the visual effects pop out from a mile away. There's a reason Zack kind of mutes the colors just a little bit. The darkness of the film helps mask where the CGI begins and where the movie ends, you know?
Well, unfortunately, it still doesn't save us from the dickless doomsday.
Well,
we'll deal with that cave troll later.
Exaggerating when I say that this is the most boring movie I have watched for this series so far. We have
Have you never watched Supergirl?
He must have, since he does have
Clips of the film earlier in the video, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Lex Luthor trying to coerce a congresswoman into giving him access to more kryptonite, even though he already has kryptonite. Meanwhile,
yes, he has a scalpel's worth of kryptonite, not enough to build, like, I don't know, a martial weapon out of.
There's kind of a reason why Lex gets mad over the fact that Superman takes away the kryptonite in Superman the Animated Series, because that was literally the only chunk he had at the moment.
Yeah. Kryptonite is rare, dude.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be able to walk up to Clark Kent with that tiny little scalpel's worth of kryptonite and shove it into one of those gigantic pectoral muscles and have it do anything but, like, just kind of hurt him, scratch him? It's kryptonite, sure, but it's tiny.
You do know that even the tiniest bit could still weaken him, right?
Oh yeah, it could still weaken him, but you walk up to Superman with that, and you're gonna get fucking decked at the very least, you know?
Yeah. Even Connor would deck him. I mean, he's only half human. Or then he's only half Kryptonian.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And is sad about people calling him a murderer, and Lois is sad because she's dating a murderer, and all.
Lois is experiencing something called post-traumatic stress disorder from nearly being killed by a terrorist warlord. And trying to figure out who tried to have her killed, and who tried to, who's trying to set her fucking boyfriend up.
Mm-hmm. And then they have some nookie in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
that
not over that.
That was a goofy ass scene, but it's in character for them.
I know, but I'm not over that. We'll get to that when we riff on the Ultimate Edition.
While Batman is in his fucking cave planning a murder, at least show me a murder so I can have something to complain about. Oh, that's better. Thank you. See, the weird thing.
You wanted a murder, there you go. Someone fucking died. Anyway.
Thing is, in this movie, both Batman and Lex Luthor want to defeat Superman. It would make sense to me if Zucker Lex or Bruce approached the other person and was like, hey, we don't like Superman. Let's fucking kill him.
Bruce Wayne doesn't trust Lex Luthor.
Did he never understand that despite knowing these two characters?
Fuck.
Bruce never trusted Lex.
He looks at Lex and he sees a gibbering idiot. He sees a fucking, like, neurotic as fuck millennial, you know? Oh, he thinks he's a fucking liability.
Yeah, so he's not gonna want Lex to help with this. He's gonna want to do this himself.
Why would the fuck... If I'm Batman, and myself and Lex Luthor, we have a common enemy, I'm not gonna go up to Lex Luthor and say, hey, I hate this guy, you hate this guy, let's kill him together. I'm gonna try and get Lex out of my way. Because Lex is even if it's like Superman the Animated Series Lex, and they're going after, like, I don't fucking know. Let's say like somebody reasonable, like the Joker is fucking up Lex Luthor's shit or something. Dang it. Like, I'm not gonna work with Lex Luthor. Like, unless I'm also gonna be trying to take him down, you know? Oh, like...
The Joker would and has worked with Lex.
Yeah.
And has outsmarted him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, that can't happen because Lex also wants Batman and Superman to fight each other.
No, he wants Batman and Superman out of his way.
Yeah, and plus, in a...
He doesn't like Superman.
In a tie-in comic to Man of Steel and BVS, as Lex ends up outright being like, it's like the guy I sees that Lex is doing like a supposed good thing and buying all this so he can prepare him. They're like, oh, you're gonna be like Superman. He's like, oh no, I won't be anything like him. And with this like nasty scowl on his face.
Yeah, so
like he expresses a blatant desire to kill Superman.
Yeah, so
Batman is just a bonus.
For those of you in the cheap seats, Superman, he fucking hates. Batman is a political business and, Bruce Wayne is a political and business rival, and Batman is the goddamn Batman. The fact that Bruce Wayne and Batman are one and the same, well, that's killing 3 birds with 1 stone if he gets him out of the way.
Yeah.
Because Lex is up to all kinds of illegal shit that Bruce is poking his nose into.
Yeah, and Lex doesn't want that.
It's almost like this plot makes sense. Huh.
Well, I can't tell you because I don't know. Anyway, now
I already
dream sequence,
I already
the world
explained.
Is taken over by evil Superman. And this is where we see Dream Batman using a gun to kill people. And people like to say, oh, well, it's a dream sequence, so it doesn't really count. And I'm not even joking when I say that that's still too far for me.
I do weird things in dreams all the time, man. Everybody does. They do stuff they wouldn't. You go to... you wouldn't go to school in your underwear in real life, but you do in a dream.
Yeah, in a dream, sometimes in a dream, you're just flat out naked.
Yep.
For no reason. Weird things happen in dreams. Also, it's interesting how the nightmare scene in the Ultimate Edition is shot in 4:3.
Yeah, the entire thing. Yeah, the entire thing was IMAX.
Batman is the kind of guy whose inner voice...
Stop using Justice League Dark!
That movie was shit.
Voice refers to himself as Batman.
The voice kept calling me Bruce. In my mind, that's not what I call myself.
What do you call yourself? Oh, yeah.
He is so deep...
I mean,
Granted,
that's...
that was a good episode of Batman Beyond, but still.
I mean, that's kind of a stupid thing. You know?
Yeah, like I said, it was a good episode of Batman Beyond, but still.
Yeah.
Oh, and now he doesn't use a cropped version of Batman the Animated Series. Where was this earlier?
And why is there a Warner Brothers watermark in the lower right-hand corner? Did you not buy the series on Blu-ray, like I did?
Perhaps maybe he's using the footage from the Blu-ray trailer.
Yar har fiddle-dee-dee.
He being a pirate is all right with me.
I mean, I
Do
can't...
What you want, the pirate lives free. You are a pirate.
I mean, I can't say too much. I used pirated footage for my Black Widow review, but, you know.
Yeah.
Connected and devoted to his insane core values that I can't see this and think it's anything other than ridiculous. Also, you might notice that
it's a fucking dream sequence. Weird shit happens. Also, it's a flash forward into the worst case scenario.
And plus, there was a bit in this one Steve Buscemi movie where Peter Dinklage is just like, oh, this must be a dream. There's a fucking dwarf in it. I gotta get that movie someday.
Yeah, the world's been taken over by fucking dark side. Look at the parademons.
Yeah.
Sequences are alluding to future movies, even to the extent that the Flash literally shows up to tell Bruce what's gonna happen in the Justice League sequel. Oh.
He doesn't. He just says Lois Lane's the key.
He says, yeah, he tells him, Lois Lane is the key, save Lois, blah, 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 you gotta find us, yada, yada. The whole thing, you're right about him, and that drives Bruce to, okay, I'm actually gonna take these steps to being able to kill Superman. Lois Lane is the key, blah, blah, blah. For the most part, the information we get is mostly used in this.
I forgot that movie's never going to happen.
I have a copy of that on my shelf downstairs. So
yeah, I got a copy up in the shelf upstairs. So Marcus was full of shit.
Yeah.
And he even ends up reviewing that.
Even in fucking Justice League.
So these scenes don't matter. I gotta admit, that's pretty embarrassing. So anyway, now Superman is meeting with the wife of the criminal that Batman killed earlier.
Do we have to keep explaining to this idiot that Batman didn't actually kill that guy?
I love how he doesn't bring up the people that Batman actually killed.
Yeah.
He keeps bringing up this guy.
Yeah, we'll get to the people Batman actually murks in this movie. We'll get to that. Anyway.
And yes, I said kill, because this movie is now trying to give Superman...
Is that supposed to be a running gag? Because if so, it's not funny.
A reason to hate Batman. Now let me just illustrate something.
Am I hearing Hydro City?
Yes, that's Hydro City from Sonic.
People will tell me it's Hydrocity. I'm like, why is there a fucking space between Hydro and City then?
Real quick. This is a movie where Batman is angry at Superman because Superman killed people. Meanwhile,
no, he thinks Superman is a threat. He doesn't know Superman's motivations. He thinks he is a potential problem that he might have to solve later on.
If there's even a 1% chance he must, then it's an absolute necessity that we take action.
Yeah.
Clearly, he didn't pay attention to that line of dialogue.
Meanwhile, Superman is mad at Batman because Batman kills people. Our heroes are just two murderous hypocrites that still don't learn their fucking lesson by the end.
Isn't that a point that Doug Walker made in his review of Batman v Superman?
Yes.
So why is Marcus repeating a point that Doug ended up making that falls completely on its head when you actually think about it?
Because he's a fucking idiot.
Of course. Moving on.
Because the guy who made the movie doesn't think that killing is bad.
killing is bad depending on the circumstances.
Yes.
Like, you know, Captain America killing all those Nazis in his movie, that was not bad. That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Iron Man killing all those terrorists in his movie, not a bad thing.
No, it wasn't. and he's such an MCU, and he's quite a bit of an MCU sim. So you would think he would know this. Anyway.
Thinks it's cool. I could stop right there. But we're only an hour into the movie. Next we have a scene where Batman kills another dozen people. And yeah.
Why do you have a problem with that? He does that in every fucking movie. He did it in the Batman.
Can we get a scene where we get a scene where we cut to Adam West Batman killing a guy with a taser?
Sure.
Yes, we've
have you ever seen Batman the movie? Where Adam West and
to see that movie.
Okay, there was a scene where Adam West and there's a scene where Bruce and Dick kill several of Penguin's henchmen by accident.
Oh God.
Yeah. I've seen that movie several times. It's great.
I need to see that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, I said kill. Those guys are definitely dead. That guy's dead. Okay, now these guys might be okay. Oh wait, no, they're definitely dead now. If they weren't dead before, that'll do it. These are the most dead people. These guys get killed the hardest.
You know, I tried to do it in that sort of technical way. I tried to do it like by proxy, shoot the car that they're in, the car blow up.
That counts as killing. That
Which
is murder.
But he does that all the time. He did it in the Dark Knight trilogy all the time. He killed.
Why is it suddenly now?
Bruce killed more people in Batman Begins than he did in BVS. I know. I've counted. I've fucking counted.
Like I said, he didn't even have a fucking gun.
No. Oh man.
You might be wondering why I'm focusing so much on how bleak and violent this movie is. This movie seems like it's trying to get us to question the idea of killing innocent people if you're a superhero.
To look him in his eye and ask him how he decides which lives count and which ones do not.
So the whole time, you are being reminded by the movie that killing is bad, but then meanwhile, Batman and Superman fucking kill people.
Batman's killing criminals.
Superman hasn't even killed anybody in this movie.
If he had, it would have been that terrorist warlord guy. And, you know, he kind of deserved it. And, you know, granted, he didn't stick around, but, you know, if my fucking girlfriend had just gotten nearly killed, I might be like hanging around with her to make sure she's all right, you know? Maybe, you know, for all we know, there was a scene that they cut that, you know, Clark was supposed to be somewhere else doing something else, or Clark had to go help somebody else, you know? We don't know, but even so, yeah, J. Jonah Jameson was emailing him saying he needed pictures of Spider-Man, and Clark was telling him, I think you've got the wrong email address, and Jameson FaceTimed him and said, I don't care who you are, I need pictures of Spider-Man, god damn it!
Perry White's like, wait, who was that you were talking to? Some guy named J. Jonah Jameson.
Mustache kinda looks like Commissioner Gordon.
Can you just give me that sports angle?
Yeah.
And not only do the events of this movie teach our heroes nothing, but the next movie, Justice League, is just goofy fun time.
Did you?
With jokes and booey.
That's all on Joss Whedon. We knew this. We knew this in 2020. You can.
Booyah.
When you compare how airtight the Marvel movies are to how fucking
Marvel airtight. He called them fucking airtight. When Black Widow can't even get a fucking movie that doesn't contradict her fucking origin story from previous films.
Why does it look like Superman is about to pull Batman in for a kiss?
And because Joss Whedon has some things he needs to discuss with his therapist.
Yeah, this is why we're not watching that version.
Yeah. Also, you can clearly tell, like, you can clearly tell which scenes are shot on the 35mm that Zach likes, and which scenes are shot on Joss Whedon's cheap as fuck digital cameras, because, like, there's this filmic quality to all of Zach's shots in that movie, and then everything just goes flat for Joss's. We knew this. We knew this at the time. We could figure out how, like, which scenes were reshoots and which scenes weren't. And, you know, you say our heroes didn't learn anything from this movie. Did you see how Wonder Woman got involved in humanity again? And, like, she sees, oh shit, that's a monster, and goes to help. Did you see the fact that Batman took the gun off of the front of his of the Batmobile in Suicide Squad?
Clearly he didn't.
Zack Snyder directed all of Batman's scenes for Suicide Squad, by the way. There's a whole lot of them that have been left on the cutting room floor. Great job, Jeff Johns.
Yeah, that explains why those scenes were actually kind of decent. Anyway.
This shit it's like night and day.
Day versus night.
Shut up, we're not at that part yet. Anyway, we've hit the halfway point of the Misery Olympics now, and it's time for things to start happening. So Lex wants to get more kryptonite, but Elastigirl says he's not allowed to have more kryptonite.
That's actually a good joke.
Yeah, that's fair.
So he hires one of Bruce's old employees who lost his legs during the last movie's final battle so that he can sue Superman for being evil. Lex Luthor then...
No, this isn't The Incredibles. He's not... He's testifying against Superman in front of, like, Congress or whatever the fuck.
Gives that guy a cool robot wheelchair, and then he blows it up in the courthouse, killing everybody except Superman. Also, I love Superman's reaction to...
Not everybody except Superman. Elastigirl's still alive.
Oh, and instead...
You just showing, and he's like, he's barely holding back fucking tears.
And in the Ultimate Edition, he actually tries to go help people.
Also, not everybody's dead. Not everybody's dead. He pulls Elastigirl out of there, and she's still alive.
Yeah, and he's like, and Superman's like, I got a sticker. I can help out a bit more, and they're like, no, you've done enough. And they chase him off.
Yeah.
He watched the Ultimate Edition. How did he miss that?
How could you miss that in the fucking theatrical cut? Like, there's still...
It's understandable in the theatrical cut because
there's still part of it there.
Not really.
I mean, it's not as much, but, like, still... No, like, I'm more... At this point, I'm more talking about, like, the look on his face, you know?
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, like, Jesus Christ, are you fucking autistic or something? And, because, like, hyper-autistic? Because we've got a couple of...
And I am actually on the spectrum, so... Oh, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, like, I have...
understand this bit better than he can.
I sometimes have trouble telling what the fuck people are trying to convey on their faces. It's just because I am oblivious as fuck. And, you know... Nah.
Anyway.
Instead of staying to help the people who have just fucking been bombed...
He did. He tried.
Oh my god, he got done. He finished. Everybody was out of the goddamn building, Marcus.
They told him, no, we don't need your help. Oh, get out of here.
Flies away. You don't need to be a comic book expert to know that Superman would never do that. Oh, and this is something I only noticed now editing the video, but there's a scene where Clark goes up into the mountains because he's really sad, and he sees a vision of his ghost dad, and now, for some reason, Pa Kent is using a weird voice that he wasn't using in the last movie.
People are afraid of what they don't understand. Grandma baked me cake. Said I was a hero.
Did you... You're comparing one scene. He was doing that voice in some of the other scenes as well. Here's the thing about accents. They kind of waver back and forth, even with, like... even in real life. You have, like, sort of an up and down. Like, you'll hear me slip into, like, Southernism sometimes by accident. Or you'll hear me start sounding more kind of New Yorky, by which is just something that's happened since puberty for me.
Sometimes you'll hear me mispronounce certain words with multiple T's in them because guess where I'm from? The state that actually popularized that.
This makes me laugh. He sounds like a completely different person.
No, he doesn't.
To cram as much shit
fucking,
into this movie as possible.
The fucking spaceship scene from the last film, where he's explaining. He has that accent in that scene.
Wonder Woman watches YouTube videos of all the other Justice League members so that we can...
Didn't Batman share this information with her?
Yes, he did. He got all of that. That's... Okay, so Batman gets... He hacks into Lex Luthor's servers at a party, and then he finds that Wonder Woman took the flash drive and the... and his car. Then Wonder Woman gives him back the flash drive. Bruce decrypts it, sends it to her, and that's how we see all this stuff. You left out a bunch of things here, man.
And then he says, "Hey, isn't this you?" Oh, pointing to the picture of her with the with Steve Trevor's unit, and then he finds. And then part of the plot of the Wonder Woman movie is that he finds the picture with Steve Trevor in it because apparently that one was redacted in this version.
Yes. So the fucking. He found a digital copy and then he found the original. But the funny thing was, like, I like to call Steve Trevor's unit and that the Not Howling Commandos.
My version of Steve Trevor's unit would have had him, the original Blue Beetle, Jay Garrett, Eric, Question, and who's the original Green Lantern?
That's Alan Scott.
Yeah, Alan Scott in there.
Was that let's see. Hey, would that have been the... That wouldn't have been the All-Winners squad, would it?
Maybe.
That was a Marvel thing, actually. Yeah. No, that was the Justice Society that you were talking about.
After World War II, they would be the Justice Society, and eventually they'd have Nelson in there as well.
Okay. Yep.
Anyway,
force some sequels and spin-offs.
That may or may not happen because WB hates money.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a nice bit of editing. I didn't know that.
What the fuck? I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Okay, that was funny.
But hey, now Batman has the kryptonite, so he decides to build an Iron Man suit and a bunch of kryptonite weapons so that he can fucking...
You mean the armored batsuit that he had in The Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah, the armored batsuit. That's one of the most famous batsuits in the history of fucking Batman.
And kill Superman. But hold on.
Remember, he's got to pull those damn tires. And then we gotta have a shot of Ben Affleck's ass.
No, he already cut away from that.
gotten crazy yet, Lex Luthor's fucking 4D chess multi-layered plan also involves taking Zod's corpse, mixing it with his DNA, and creating a monster. What are you...
I don't even think Lex knew what was going to come out of there. I think he was just fucking around and about to find out.
Also, like, the
That's
monster
literally
is
the whole point of
the
science.
monster is the backup plan, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, he saw that eventually it was going to create the monster. He's like, okay, this will be my backup plan then.
Yeah. It's like, if exactly what happened in the movie happened, the monster. If Superman won, the monster.
Yeah. Anyway.
Trying to accomplish? I've said this before.
Win!
To
He's
kill
trying to win!
Superman!
Yeah.
But I really don't like when a villain's plan is that he can just anticipate anything, because it comes across as the plan just being fucking dumb.
Clearly, he has not seen Sosuke Aizen.
It's almost... See, it's almost like Superman and Batman are a little bit predictable in what they might do in certain circumstances, and a maniacal or manipulative villain like Lex Luthor might be able to play them against each other, like indeed he did.
Yes. It's almost like that's the whole fucking point. Even though they're both smart, they're still predictable.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if Elastigirl doesn't do any of the things that you told her to do? How
Well,
does
she
know that Batman
didn't.
had-
She outright
Yeah.
didn't. And,
Yeah,
you know...
she really did it. And
You know what he did? He fucking just went off and did it by himself.
Yeah. Since she didn't do what he wanted, that's why he's like, all right, I'm just gonna do it myself then.
Mhm.
Haters.
has a vendetta against Superman? How does he know that he even wants to kill him? Did you fucking ask him? Did you call him on the phone? What if Lois Lane just pushes you off this fucking building after you kidnap her and threaten to kill her?
Why?
And
Lois
at
Lane
what
is not
point
a
in time is that going to work? Please, explain to me. I'd like to see that. After...
Yes, and how would Superman then know, where Martha is if Lois Lane kills the guy that knows where she is?
I'd like to see that, actually. You know?
Oh.
Like, I'd like to see, like, a what if Lois Lane shoved him off of the roof?
No. That Jesse Eisenberg just be like, oh.
Ah! And then Superman saves him. And then he's like, what? What the fuck?
Superman be like, so, you tried to kidnap my girlfriend, and then she shoved you off the roof.
Where's my mom? You owe me. Where's my goddamn mom?
I don't owe you anything.
Yep. Oh, so you want me to push you off the building again, huh?
And they keep going about it until Lex gives in.
And meanwhile, like, Lex's henchmen at the warehouse are just, like, playing poker with each other. Or like, what's that sound? Ah! Yeah, it's probably the wind.
And meanwhile, Batman's just still waiting there with the bat signal on.
Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum.
And Superman just brings Lex Luthor to Batman and says, here's the guy that set us up.
There you go.
And then
What
just
the
flies
fuck?
away. Anyway.
What if Superman doesn't save Lois this one time? Also, how do you...
Did you not catch the part earlier in the movie where he was calculating Superman's response time?
Clearly not.
You know that mixing your blood with the corpse of an alien will resurrect it and turn it into a monster. No,
It's almost like it was a scientific experiment.
That a
He didn't
mad
know what was
scientist
going to
might
happen.
pull off. Yeah.
He didn't know what was going to happen. He just fucked around and then he found out.
Lex Luthor is a mad scientist. Did you miss that?
Literally his whole shindig. Even the Kurgan is a shin.
It's
is
his
a-
shtick.
Is a mad scientist.
Yeah.
He instead of using kryptonite for the benefit of mankind, no, he'd rather just beat up Superman with it.
With that kind of money, you could cure cancer.
I don't want to cure cancer. I want to kill Superman.
Nobody told you that. You might think that these questions would be answered in the extended edition, but they're not.
Which they were.
Hell, the fucking thing about some of these questions you're bringing up weren't even questions even in the fucking theatrical cut.
They're not. He also tells Superman, hey, I kidnapped your mom, and you're never going to be able to save her or I'll kill her. Why doesn't Superman just go save his mom?
Did you miss all that stuff in Man of Steel where he tries to use his super hearing thing? Or doesn't he? He doesn't even have to try to use his super hearing to be overwhelmed by it. He has to try to not be overwhelmed by it. Granted, there is a deleted scene in this movie where Clark does literally exactly what you're thinking. He's trying to save her. He goes up, like Zach has described it. It's a green screen shot of Henry. They're panning all around, and he's trying, and then he hears everything, and he goes nuts, and he just starts screaming because he can't handle all of the sensory input of all of the chaos that goes on in the entire city, much less the entire world.
There's actually a bit in the Justice League animated series where Jean tries to locate Lex, but it's overwhelmed by too many minds.
Yep.
Talking at once.
And here's...
He left for a while until the second part of the episode where his faith in humanity was restored by all of them, all of these minds uniting to find this one person.
Do you wanna know why they wound up cutting it? It's because even Zach said, we saw this in Man of Steel, it'll be understood.
Right. That makes sense. Anyway.
He could do it like really super fast. We saw him do it in this movie with Lois Lane earlier. I seriously feel like I'm
Yes,
losing
when
my
he
mind
was in
listening
close
to this man
proximity
talk.
to her in a fucking desert. Also, he knew where she was.
Yeah. He didn't know where Martha was.
No.
He wants to expose Superman, but he also wants to kill him, and
It's almost like having Superman kill Batman might be a good thing for him. And because then Batman's out of the way and he can use the fucking thing, the Doomsday to kill Superman, yeah.
and also make him do his bidding. You can't have all of those things. Do you know that? Whatever, doesn't matter. It's time to fight. Time to have the battle that the movie's named after.
I mean, if he's
Ow.
dead and if Clark is dead and, his name is ruined, I mean, a dead ruined...
Better than dead.
Yeah, his name being ruined and him being dead, Clark dies at the end of this movie. And he's revered as a saint.
Yeah.
That's not what Lex wanted. He wanted him ruined.
Yeah, he wanted him destroyed, figuratively and literally.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. Anyway, a
Pew,
pal.
pew, pew. Oh no, Batman's losing. Time to use a smoke bomb to trick the man who has X-ray vision.
With lead
See,
particles.
through lead line and smoke.
Yeah. Which
It's
they
almost
explained
like-
earlier in the goddamn movie.
Which was explained in the Ultimate Edition rather than the theatrical cut.
Yeah. Which he's
And
allegedly
Lois's
watched.
informant was like, hey, by the way, that guy's chair turned out it was lined with lead, and she's like, oh my god, that's why he can see through it.
Yeah. It's almost like everything that we needed was explained.
Yeah.
So fucking stupid. Oh look, now Batman's winning because he farted on Superman. And this scene really reads like it was made by someone who greatly prefers Batman over Superman.
turn me into a deceased character.
Hmm.
Thanks a lot, Marcus. Your stupidity has ruined this for us. Anyway.
Pow, pow, bam, bonk. Batman wins the fight. It's dumb. I'm not.
Yes, because he cheated. Because he literally cheated.
That's the whole point.
However, right before Batman uses the magic alien spear to execute Superman, the dumbest shit in the movie happens. Superman, in his dying moments, refers to his mother by her first name.
Which...
You know, if I was tempted to lose brain cells so I could forget he said this, I would go bang my head against the wall.
I'm looking... I don't have any hard liquor near me. But I am tempted to drink heavily.
The most misunderstood scene in fiction. Martha. Granted, I've made fun of this scene numerous times.
Look,
You've
it's
seen me make fun of it.
stupid if you don't know what's going on, but Bruce Wayne has PTSD. That's his entire shtick. Let's keep going.
I made jokes about the scene when, like, Batman going, "Why did you say that name? Martha! Martha!" And he's just, like, twirling the spear like a maniac, and Superman's like, "Yeah, you know what? Just kill me. Just kill me right now. I'll experiment with this."
Which causes Batman to realize, oh my gosh, he's literally me. Who the fuck refers to their mother by their first name?
Lots of people. Lots of people.
I do sometimes too.
Especially as your final words before you are being killed.
I mean, that's his entire shtick. That's what he came here. He came here to ask Batman for help, and Batman started shooting at him. And he's like, okay, I'm just going to, like hold this guy down so that I can explain to him what's going on. And then he comes out with the fucking kryptonite, which Clark didn't know existed.
Yeah.
You know?
This is the one thing that stops Batman's murder quest cold turkey.
Yes, because it was his
Switches
father's
to
last
being
word.
Superman's fucking best friend.
Because
So
it was his
fast
dad's
that
last
I thought
word.
I missed.
They spell this out in the movie. It flashes back to his dad's last words. His dad's last words were his mom's name.
And in the DC abridged universe, he's like, Thomas, referring to Thomas Wayne Jr. It comes up in the Court of Owls.
The best thing was there was a joke that people were thinking was going to happen in Justice League, where like because Bruce and Arthur's dads are both named Thomas, but you know.
Oh my god.
The scene of them actually reconciling. All it took was Superman's mom having the same name.
Which
It
is something that
the
happened in the
dumbest
comics.
shit that-
Like not this exact scene, but they have the same name in the comics. It's not like this is something Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio cooked up on their own.
Yeah,
It's a continuity gag.
Yeah.
Did you know? Fun fact: Harvey Dent was originally going to be named Harvey Kent. They didn't remember that Kent was the last name of literally their most iconic superhero.
Yeah.
DC are terrible with names.
Yes, they are. Anyway.
That this movie could have pulled.
Martha won't die tonight.
Stop saying Martha. It just sounds wrong now.
Martha.
Anyway, it's time for the only scene of the movie that I unironically enjoy. I've praised this scene before. I honestly just can't hate it. Because whenever I watch it, I just pretend
Pause for a second. He doesn't bring up the one actual error with the film where like we don't see how Bruce gets the other suit back on. Now, granted, he probably has the regular Batsuit on underneath the armored Batsuit, but he's like...
Yeah, that's probably a more likely scenario.
Like, I would have included, like, a quick shot of, like, him stripping off the armor and then putting on a new cowl. because there's like it just cuts too quickly from him in the armored batsuit to him in the regular batsuit with the new cowl on, but it's a small nitpick. So, you know, the fact that he didn't
nitpicks in the movie.
the fact that he didn't bring that up is one thing, but at the same time he brought up a bunch of other shit that didn't matter. So, you know, missing the one thing that's actually a valid complaint. Kind of weird, buddy.
And it's a really quick Batman short film where Batman just beats up some guys. And I think it's actually the only cool movie Batman fight scene. Yeah, he's being brutal. He's kind of skirting the line of what is and isn't murder. But I just need something exciting. Okay, please let me have this.
I mean,
also
this is
kind of like that he.
This is like the Arkham games in a nutshell, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you could literally get this from the Arkham games.
Yeah.
I feel like Zack Snyder might have played those and was like, you know what, I could actually I could actually film something like this.
Yeah, I know for a fact Matt Reeves did.
Yep.
Gets his ass kicked in this fight. Like, they use his cape against him. One guy tries to fucking shoot him in.
Well, that's
So
actually
I
a
should
really good
clarify that
note.
I like this scene up until he beats the last guy in the room. Because after this cool, well choreographed fight scene, we are reminded that this is a bad movie. Because Batman ends the scene by using a gun to kill a man.
Just like he did in The Dark Knight Returns. This is
disgusting.
This is an exact replica of a scene from The Dark Knight Returns where, you know, the thug is holding somebody hostage and he says, "I'll kill her, I'll fucking do it," and Bruce says, "I believe you," and then shoots the guy.
Yeah. Oh, and also, like I said, also Markiplier green screen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Green screen.
This is awful in every way.
And even though the movie feels like it should
Pretty
be ending
poorly,
soon,
yeah.
we actually have 40 minutes left. So
Yes.
It's time to throw in a new villain in the last quarter of the movie. And this is officially where the movie enters the realm of being too stupid to be forgiven. This movie has officially become a bad video game. There's not even anything I can say.
Okay. I will be honest. I would have liked it better if Lex had busted out a war suit instead and saved the death of Superman for later.
Granted, that probably would have worked as well.
But I do enjoy the fight scene in overall, and it's the first scene we get to see of the DC Holy Trinity in a live-action movie.
Yeah, it's really fucking good.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman's introduction was great too. Like she busts in, saves Batman's ass, has her theme songs blaring.
Own composed by Hans Zimmer.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Say about this. They're just slamming into each other. And then Wonder Woman shows up and she slams into him. And then Batman watches because he's just a regular guy.
Yeah.
What do you expect Batman to fucking do?
I was gonna say, what the fuck are you expecting him to do? This is like.
This isn't like the Hishi where Batman just comes in with the kryptonite spear and he's like, "Because I'm Batman," and it just impales Doomsday with the spear, or hocking him up with some kryptonite gas.
Yeah.
That was a fucking awesome Hishi, though.
It was.
Yes.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
What? You've met her, Batman. She's your friend.
Stop. No. She's not Batman's friend. She is somebody who Batman doesn't know.
Yeah.
Batman has met her briefly. He kind of knows who she is. He thinks she's Kryptonian! Like, that line! I have heard so much shit about this line for years now. For 6 goddamn years. People have been giving that line shit forever. And here's the thing. Clark... Okay, so the lead up into that line is that Clark says, "It's from another world, my world." And Diana says...
Like, I've killed things from other worlds before.
Exactly. And Clark, who has spent the last 15 to 20 minutes getting his ass kicked by Bruce and has just about had enough of this shit for one night, right? Sighs and turns to Bruce and asks, quite reasonably, "Is she with you?" And Bruce, who's been operating under the assumption that Wonder Woman is a Kryptonian and knows Clark in some way, or shape, or form, is immediately disabused of that notion and is shocked and turns to Clark and is like, "I thought she was with you." Who? And he realizes he doesn't know who the fuck this is. He doesn't know what's going on here. He's stepped into a really big world.
Yeah. So now we get the big fight.
And you're the one who knows her. You know who she is. Also, I love that on 2 separate occasions we have to have characters say that the places they're fighting in are abandoned.
Stryker's Island, east of Metropolis.
That's uninhabited.
Why did you bring him back to the city?
The port is abandoned.
Because, ooh, we can't make fun of this movie. Please don't make fun of my movie. See, the final battle didn't kill any innocent people, but innocent people did die in that scene, and in that scene, and in that scene, and in that scene, and in that scene, but not in the final battle. So
yes, the bad guys were doing that earlier, buddy.
I guess bad guys aren't allowed to do bad guy things.
And like, the whole reason they made the point of that, and is like Stryker's Island is uninhabited, and for one thing, that's foreshadowing for Justice League, and for another, Stryker's Island being uninhabited means that the military can go all out there without risk of casualties. Civilian casualties. Yeah. Gotham Harbor being abandoned, and did you miss the whole thing where, like, Bruce was beating Clark's ass in an abandoned area so nobody innocent would get hurt? Did you miss that earlier?
I guess so.
He's trying to keep people from getting hurt. They're both trying to keep people from getting hurt. They're all trying to keep people from getting hurt. The bad guys are not innocent people, Cosmo.
And while this fight is happening, Lois is literally just off periodically almost dying.
Yes, because she's trying to find the spear to kill the thing with, you know?
To kill the thing with the thing and the thingamajig.
It's almost like she's trying to be useful.
Yeah.
Okay, go away. How many times are you gonna get yourself killed? It's kind of a joke how prone you are to danger.
Well, at least it's not Superman the movie.
Dating Superman.
Yeah.
They literally make it a point to lampshade this in Superman the Animated Series when they're like, "Hey, what's your name? Lois Lane. Hey, wait, aren't you the woman who Superman has to save every so often?" It's like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh no." They just realized they just did a stupid in kidnapping the one of the people that Superman cares about.
Okay.
I need that sound effect.
I think it's from one of the Scooby-Doo seasons.
I know it's from Scooby-Doo. I just need to find it.
So to kill the video game final boss, Clark goes and he lands the finishing blow with the magic spear. He tells
It's kryptonite.
Lois that he loves her.
It's kryptonite. It's not magic.
In what universe is this magic? We haven't been introduced to Dr. Fate, nor Zatanna, or Raven even. No.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan is not in this movie.
What?
Isn't Pierce Brosnan playing Dr. Fate?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Her, and we feel nothing because they still don't feel like they're in a
Oh,
relationship.
fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you so much.
Yeah.
I cried my eyes out when I saw that.
Even I felt something, even despite my initial feelings for this movie.
He's a goddamn hero. He knows he's charging into his almost certain death, but he's doing it to save the people he loves.
Fucking talking to each other yet. And stop with the quick zooms. I thought we were done with that. So yeah, Superman totally dies, like for real. Not clickbait. And the civilians that hate him mourn his death, and the guy who only knew him for an hour mourns his death.
it's almost like Superman sacrificed himself to save the world, thus proving to Batman that Superman wasn't a danger.
It's almost
or
like,
that
you know,
he was
him.
a hero.
It's almost like the good guy doing good guy things, which you were complaining that he didn't do enough good guy things earlier or in the video. Oh, is a good thing. It's almost like, you know, a man being a shining example of the best of humanity. He can win people over or to being good themselves, you know? Oh, it's almost like... It's almost like... You remember... Or, you know, I'm with you till the end of the line from Captain America, that running thing that was through all of the fucking Cap movies. He's with him and Bucky. He, you know, that little watch phrase, that, it's kind of like that.
Anyway.
Failed him. Life.
Dude, you tried to stab him to death in a dirty warehouse.
Yes, that's the definition of failing him in life. That is one of the ways in which Bruce failed him in life.
Fucking friends. Also, it's really funny.
No,
that the
he
newspaper
knows
says
that. He knows that. That's... He's like I failed him in life, I won't fail him in death. That he's the shining example, the beacon of hope that Superman was, rescued Bruce from the darkness that was his soul at that point. He brought him up out of the darkness and gave him something like an ideal of hope to strive for.
Wait. So you're saying that Superman, this whole time, ended up being he wanted to fill his dark soul with light.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
God, anyway.
Superman dead. And also, Clark Kent, random guy that nobody knows, is also dead. So yeah, after that, Lex Luthor gets exiled to the realm of not being allowed to be in a movie ever again, and Batman threatens to brand him like a cow and send him to Arkham Asylum to be murdered.
Almost like Arkham Asylum. What was Lex's objective the whole time?
Bruce got him sent to somewhere he could keep an eye on him. Just so happened that was exactly where Lex wanted him to send him, because it's a lower security prison than fucking Blackgate.
Mm-hmm. Just to remind you that Batman did not learn his lesson. Anyway, the movie's over.
Batman didn't brand him, though! He shoved the brand into the wall!
For now, and I feel dead inside. It blows my mind that there are people who watch this movie and like it.
Fuck you.
You just showed one of the scenes of Superman being a hero that you complained there weren't enough of in the other. You know, you can't have it both ways, Marcus. You can't have there's not enough superheroing in Man of Steel and just completely ignore all the superheroing that Clark does in Batman v Superman. You know?
Because I'm not lying when I say that I hope I go the rest of my life without ever seeing this movie again. I hate it. I am not lying when I say that this movie is only given any credit because of a single fight scene. And when I say this is my least favorite...
Fuck you. The final battle between the Trinity and Doomsday, the fight night between Batman and Superman, and that's fucking great. The montage of Superman being a hero, that's great. All of the intrigue surrounding like what it means to be a superhero and like what superheroes mean to society. You didn't like any of that?
Evidently no.
Okay. What the fuck ever, man.
Movie, I'm still not saying it's the worst. Yes, I understand that this is becoming a joke at this point, but this is still not the worst superhero movie ever made.
You literally said it was in the title. You literally said it was in the title, Marcus.
Personally, cannot stand. You can't even enjoy this movie as a joke, and that's
funny. I find a way to enjoy this movie unironically. That's because I actually paid attention to the
Wonder Woman 84 is so much worse than this.
And so is Birds of Prey.
Oh yeah.
why I don't like it.
And the
I can
Suicide
watch
Squad.
Daredevil and Catwoman any day because those movies are hilarious. They're based.
Daredevil is actually a good movie. Catwoman is shit.
Daredevil at least has the director's cut, which is fucking amazing.
Like, I prefer the Daredevil movie to the TV show. Because you can actually see what the fuck's going on.
Basically comedies at this point. Batman v Superman does not have any redeeming qualities. It is not fun to watch, and that's why I personally hate it the most. And yeah, what really fucks with me is that while I hate this movie the most personally, it still isn't the worst movie. So for now, I'm gonna give Batman...
Fucking please. Suicide Squad? That's not even the worst film in the DCEU.
No, that would go to Birds of Prey.
That's not even the worst film in like the fucking studio-led meddled DCEU either. Like outside of the Snyderverse, like we've got Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, fucking in the comedy scenes in Aquaman. We've got the fact that the Amber Heard and anything. The fact that the Suicide Squad jobbed Starro the Conqueror out to the Task Force X. For fuck's sake, guys.
I'm surprised you actually went and watched that movie.
Oh, it's fucking garbage.
Oh, that'll be the last movie we do in the DCEU's lineup.
I own all these films on 4K.
I gotta get Birds of Prey.
I own Catwoman on Blu-ray. I own Catwoman and Green Lantern on Blu-ray.
We don't need to watch them.
I have Elektra and Daredevil on DVD behind me, but I also have the director's cut on Blu-ray.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Superman, Dawn of Justice, a 2 out of 10.
And is that just the patrons for the rest of this?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I think we have successfully EFAP'd this because the video was 40 minutes and we are now at the 3.5 hour mark. We've gone for almost the length of the Watchmen Ultimate Edition. So, I think we're done. Do we have any final thoughts about this?
Marcus, go fuck yourself. That's my final
Yeah, Marcus, go fuck yourself. Other than that, yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow on our channels for game night. Yeah.
Anyways, bye.
Bye.
Are we no longer live?
I'm trying to find the